Ready, aim, release! Anyone see my mammoth? Hello! We are back. It is a Monday. I have returned, and I've accidentally frozen my two friends, but they're back. They're back live. We've got Carlo, as always.
Hey. Hello.
And this week we're joined, as it says in the bottom there, by JahSper, Danny, above. How you doing, buddy?
Everybody.
Good stuff. Now, if anyone doesn't know who JahSper is, then you haven't been onto the site recently, because JahSper is a pretty good player. Basically, that's the long and short of it.
Alright, isn't he?
He's all right. I've heard he's okay. Yeah, I've heard he's like at least average, if not better. So I guess we'll see in due course when he talks about his knowledge of the game. But yeah, currently ranked number 1 on stats. He's won every tournament that's possible to win, basically. For someone in Italy, that is, who doesn't travel as much coming out of COVID and things like that. I expect him to win every event he's got the opportunity to travel to this year, so I'm expecting him to win. You coming to the LGT, Danny?
Yes, I'll be coming to the LGT.
Yes! So he will be winning the LGT. I expect.
I'm not sure about that. I wouldn't bet on me.
And he'll also, no doubt, be winning. Are you going to any German events?
I don't know about any German events so far, but why not? So my team and I, we like to travel around Europe. So we've been to Santander, and we will probably go to France for the nationals there, and LGT, and those.
Well, there we go.
Watch out. Coming to a tournament near you.
Yeah. He also plays a lot of Targs.
Yes, I do.
Which we'll no doubt get to in due course, telling us the fantastic story of how he plays Targaryens purely for the lore. So, all right then. Shall we delve into the most important thing to talk about ever, which has happened over the weekend? Or should we just ignore it and go on to other stuff?
I don't know which bit of the weekend you want to talk about. It was an eventful week.
It was an eventful week. It was. But the most important thing, I think, is to talk about the boxes that randomly appeared in Scotland yesterday.
The absolute full meme that is Night's Watch Heroes 3 have literally been released before Night's Watch Heroes 2.
Yep. Any Night's Watch players out there?
It was a joke for such a long time, but it has actually come true in the UK. Night's Watch Heroes 3 is out. Night's Watch Heroes 2 is not. Free Folk Heroes 3 is out. Free Folk Heroes 2 is not.
You really can't make this up, can you?
Lannister Heroes 3 is out. Red Cloaks are not. Oh god.
It's
I'm still waiting for Red Cloaks 2 in Italy, and everybody's freaking out.
Fair enough.
I mean, Red Cloaks might be good again. Maybe. They might be good again after being amazing, then nerfed, and then now the new commanders might make them good again.
It's
what the hell?
I love how it's a little bit like the 1.6 Mammoth saga, isn't it? Mammoths were really good to the point of being busted, and then they were released, and roughly the same time they were released, they were nerfed. And everyone went, "What do you mean they're busted? These aren't very good." Right. Anyway, we'll dive in, and we'll dive in with the first reveals. All of these pictures are courtesy of Connor Kerr and John Craig. Connor took some lovely, better versions of the Stark ones for me as well, sent them over yesterday, which is great. But those two lads up in Scotland, friends of mine and Carlo's, we played against them loads. Absolutely great lads. They went and actually picked them up from the store Common Ground Games, which is where the Scottish GT was held, where they were able to pick them up and obviously open them, show the world what was inside. So let's dive in. We've got.
Belgoroth was just in chat, by the way,
saying
that he might have Night's Watch images by tomorrow.
Yes, yeah. So, as is classic on the Tuesday just after Tourney Ground, there'll be some more stuff to talk about. So, first of all, we've got House Stark loyalists. These guys were kind of shown off a little bit over the weekend. I think it was on a Saturday or something. Someone post up images with just like the front cards. These were seen. These are in at 5 points for Starks, with 5 movement, a 7/5/4 profile on a 4+, 4+ armor, 6+ morale. They have precision on their base attack, and also have the perseverance and valor, healing a wound before they roll their attack dice. For 5 points, right? They're falling into the new category that is kind of like dominated heavily by Starksworn swords. Carlo, your initial thoughts on this unit?
They're fine. They're very comparable to Starksworn swords. Like, some people kind of like speculated that they couldn't be 5. I mean, I don't think that they're better than Starksworn swords, right?
No.
I felt that they had to be 5, and they are 5, and they're fine. They're another option. I have not. I value precision. I think precision's quite a good ability in amongst a very, very hardened meta that kind of like is coming to exist these days. Perseverance and valor, it's interesting. They're interesting because they're different flavor to Starksworn swords. They don't really lean into like being on their last rank. They don't lean into what the Starks have leaned incredibly heavily into at the moment, which is like a cape low while having a up on your last rank.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I do think the precision brings them certainly something a little bit different. Danny, you don't play many Starks, right? In fact, I'm gonna spy here for a second. Let's see how many Stark games you've played. You have played 2.
Maybe
you played...
2. Yeah, I think 2.
What do you think of this unit?
I think they're fine. We were talking here in Italy as well about them before knowing the cost price, and we basically said the same thing that Carlo just said, that they were supposed to be 5, right? If they were 6, they were probably garbage. And nobody will play them at 6. But at 5, they're fine. You can choose between them or the source. More or less, they are the same value, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I also agree that about precision, but a friend of mine said, okay, they prefer not to rework Hardened, so they just spam it now. So everybody can have Hardened for the place. And so precision may be a very good ability now. Even
I agree. I think that they don't want to admit that Hardened isn't right, and they're trying to inject as many counters to Hardened as they can into the game, so that they don't have to rework Hardened itself.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is very.
Yeah.
Hardened is a problem. I think Hardened is a problem right now.
Yeah.
Mormont veterans, we can see them everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a massive issue. And not in like it's game breakingly bad, but it's a problem in that you have to think about it. Like people talked about expert duelists for some time being like a thing you have to think about in list building, whereas me and Carlo argued that yeah, you kind of have to, but you don't really consider it most of the time. Whereas Hardened, you have to have a solution for. If you don't present a Hardened solution, you'll struggle into those problems that present themselves. To answer a question just came up in chat from Owen Chubb. Hardened blocks precision? No? Question mark. No. Hardened doesn't block precision because precision now, with the change rules for 2021 since last year, precision now is a wound on the roll of a 6, whereas the old precision used to cause an unblockable hit, as in you didn't roll a defense dice for it. The subtle change being that now it navigates through Hardened, whereas actual old precision would have been blocked by Hardened. In the same way that Mag the Mighty ignores armor saves and can be blocked by Hardened.
unless something's gone really, really wrong here. Terra, just check the rulebook. It doesn't say you don't get a save anymore. It says rolls of a 6 cause a wound.
Yeah, the new 2021 version of the rules says
Pretty sure.
that.
99% sure.
If it does, then we've been all playing that wrong, and Harden just got better.
Uh-oh.
Oh dear. Yeah, I mean, we're all in agreement here, I think. I think this is a 5-point unit that we'll see play. And that's good. I will come on to a concern that I have later on, which I've been voicing quite a lot recently. Probably too much. But I do think this plays into an idea or a kind of potential issue that we are going to see. But we'll come on to that later on. All right, so we'll move on to the next reveal. That was this guy's here. So this is Eddard, Lyanna, and Robb. Now, we'll start with Eddard. Eddard is at 6 points. Straight away coming in at 6. He is the equivalent of the Tywin NCU that we see now in that kind of senses. He has Price of Honor. At the start of any turn, you may destroy Eddard. If you do, target one enemy NCU. That NCU cannot activate and loses all abilities until the end of the round. There's something about that I am going to question later on, and just as a weird interaction thing. The other part, hands orders, while influencing a unit, each time that unit is targeted by an NCU ability or tactics zone, you may cancel the effect of that zone or NCU. Initial thoughts there on the 2 abilities at that 6-point cost.
Pricey.
Yeah.
Agree.
What do you reckon, Danny? Are you gonna pay 6 for this?
I don't think so. I mean, he looks a little bit like a mix between Corrin, but with NCUs instead of units, and a bit like Barristan from Targaryen. But I don't know. I think they are trying to push the meta into a 2 NCU lists. We are seeing a lot of 6-point NCUs, and we don't have 3 points NCU anymore. But spending 6 points for an NCU, I think it's quite pricey, and I see a lot of them. Maybe just Corrin and sometimes Tywin, but maybe Sandra before at 6. Nobody used to play her at 6, right?
Yeah, and this is actually a very good point, and you bring it up there, kind of in a roundabout way. In that, I think in the advent of other 6-point NCUs like Tywin and Corrin becoming very popular, I can see Eddard making the cut simply because you can go, yeah, you know that really important round where you want a Tywin bomb? You can't. And I can see that being powerful. The problem is, like, the game as it stands at the moment, the game is long enough that you are going to have probably a turn after that where that Tywin bomb can come down and have the impact. And I don't know whether or not you trade off for that in a lot of cases. The case I was actually going to bring up was actually Night's Watch and a couple of other things. For the Price of Honor, sacrificing yourself to turn off Gilly. How does that work? Can she activate? She can't activate, but does she lose the ability to then use her once per game ability? I have no idea. That just sounds like just don't do that.
I think you're just trying to create a loophole that doesn't exist. She can't activate and she doesn't have an ability.
No, correct. So does losing the ability to activate once? No, obviously once per game abilities, if you gain them back, they're still used. But that's a question that's going to come up. 100% it will come up.
Why? Who's going to use Eddard on Gilly?
Hopefully no one.
Do something.
No one.
I think he's there's just like these corner case niche uses where like maybe you claim swords and then you delete yourself and also block another NCU to open up swords again. I think it's weird. I don't think that I'd buy it at 6. Like, I'm not saying it wouldn't be really strong at 5, but I'm not paying 6. in the same way that like I do think that people are having success with Tywin at 6, but I'm not buying him. Like, that's just not my style. That's not the way I play. I'm not paying 6 points for your fucking NCUs, guys. Stop trying to sell. Stop trying to sell. Stop trying to sell me a absolute ringer at 6. Because I'm just buying the 4s. Thanks.
I will say, and this is Danny's moment to real shine here. This is probably one of the only methods that currently exists of blocking tactics board charges, things like assault orders or anything like that. Is that something that Starks could kind of use to their advantage to have that one up potentially? Shut down an opponent's big unit like a Drogo. Someone saying in chat there. I don't know. What do you reckon, Danny?
Hands orders, art is okay. But maybe Price of Honor, I think maybe if he only had the influence, might be a 5-point unit, a 5-point NCU. I don't know. But I agree with Carlo that I'm not gonna buy a 6-point NCU basically.
Yeah.
And also the new version of, I mean, the new update of the old version of Eddard has from 5 to 6 points. I don't really play Starks, but if I would, I don't think I would take Eddard at 6 points.
I do have to say on that note, I do think the nerf to Eddard from 5 to 6 was a little bit unjustified. I didn't think he was a problem so much at 5, but that might have just been me.
I just think we're seeing an absolute ton of him in his commander form now. Like it was a hard toss up before. Like it seemed hard to pass his NCU up, and his NCU seemed like a really valuable part of any list at 5 points. And now you're like, oh, forget Eddard. He brings Eddard's honor guard plus a great set of cards. Like I'll lose all that, and then it's like maybe you consider him in your second list, but Eddard commander is seeing so much play in himself that like a 6-point NCU is so niche at that point.
Maybe the last update was actually the opposite, right? Almost nobody played Eddard as a commander because the NCU at 5 points was pretty good. I think it's the opposite. Nobody would play NCUs because the commander is better. It's just better.
Yeah. It's a weird toss-up that it's like you swap the two kind of around. Yeah. And the model's nice though. We'll get onto sculpts and stuff later on, but the model's really nice apparently. But it makes him look a little bit suave and young. But I'm sure people will love that Eddard sculpt anyway.
Just to add something about the other Eddard, the other one. They moved him from 5 to 6 points, but I don't think he's that better in respect of other NCUs in other factions. Like I can think of Aemon, of course, which is I think.
Yeah. I mean, how does Aemon keep getting a pass?
Yeah.
At 4 points.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in agreement there. The next one, a 4-point Lyanna Mormont. We've got to first of all say yes, it's a 4-point option NCU. That immediately makes her, I think, not just discussion worthy, but of course consideration worthy, right? And then she comes with a very Stark-esque ability. An influence where while influencing a friendly unit, it gains the following based on the number of destroyed friendly combat units, and effects are cumulative. At 0, destroyed friendly combat units, she gives the unit she influences +1 to morale test rolls. Fine. At 1 destroyed unit, the melee attacks gain crit blow. Good. 2, she gives them automatically passing all panic tests. What? And 3, may re-roll any attack dice. I think that, personally, I think that this is something you'll see. Because I think, well, the big meme is in Starks for some time has been that the North doesn't remember dogs. Lyanna Mormont does. I think she's going to see play purely for that 2+ automatic passing all panic tests. I think that's massive. What do you reckon?
I think 2+ is a stretch to be playing for.
Mhm.
I think her 0 effect is okay at 4 points. Like almost okay at 4 points.
Yep.
Like if her effect was just influence, gain +1 morale, I'd say a bit weak. Not really in the discussion of that's what point NCU does.
Mhm.
Throw in like multiple other abilities once units start to die, and I just consider them bonuses, which make her pretty good, I think. Like we can start to consider the 1+. I do think that we're always going to be losing a unit or more in the more fighting orientated trading now.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I agree. I think she'll see a lot more. I think she's good. I don't know Stark players in the room who think that she's not good, but I personally think she's very strong. Danny.
Also, maybe in the last part, I mean, if you have 3 destroyed units, probably you are going to lose.
Yes.
It's still good with 0 and 1, right? And
Yeah.
with 1 dead unit, like a wolf, maybe you can just sacrifice a wolf and you can give critical blow to Tully Cavaliers, which is nasty.
Yeah. Yeah, I
and
have.
with 0, you have +1 morale for the she-bears, right?
Mhm.
Warcry. So I think it's solid. It's a solid NCU.
I have to admit, I have literally no like Lyanna Mormont in a Great John Umber list. I have absolutely like think that nightmarish Tully Cavaliers coming down with Lyanna Mormont after Shaggy done. If you do a Shaggy bomb on something and just eliminate a unit, sacrificing Shaggy to take something down with him with the last stand and sacrifice wound combo, and then you go, oh, now my 10 dice, sorry, Tully Cavaliers are coming in with crit blow and sundering. Fuck you. um, I have no desire to see that coming up against me, to be honest. That just sounds unpleasant. I
think that she is very strong, and I think that when used right, she will be very, very powerful. I do think that some people will fall into the trap of like basically sacrificing units on purpose.
Yeah.
You know, like being like, oh, I'll trade this out, and then they don't kill something, and they just like, oh, Lyanna, like she's not that good. Like she's not going to be worth sacrificing units for.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that overall she is a very powerful NCU if you just consider them as good effects that you get as the game progresses, rather than necessarily like focusing on a 1-for-1 trading basis. And you just like pick up blow as it happens, and then as you move into the other games, pretty deep now. Either that or you're getting trashed.
Yeah.
I think they also are trying to make the games a little bit longer, just to arrive to round 6.
Mm-hmm.
With this update, commanders not giving +1 point, and we see a few stuff suggesting they want to make the games longer, like finish at round 6.
Mm-hmm.
And so characters like Lyanna, or also Battle Endurance, or maybe even Stag Knight, I don't know, but they might be stronger now.
Yeah, they might see elements of strength there. My only concern with Lyanna is actually her ability, and it sounds really weird, but she's an influence ability at 4 points. Which, hello, you've got Caitlyn in the deck. Does anyone know a Stark list that doesn't run Caitlyn? Because I don't. And it just competes with that influence. I think that might be the only problem, and Caitlyn is very important for controlling tokens.
I do think that they're quite different, because I think that Lyanna provides benefits to units that are undamaged. Like, whereas Caitlyn's effect is to double down on a unit before it dies. Outside of Berserkers, right? Every unit, if it wants to roll its attack, it cares about that if it's lost ranks. Whereas Lyanna, she really wants to be on your Tully Cavaliers, having lost no ranks. Like, she wants to give crit blow to these things that don't already have crit blow because they've got max ranks. Yes, doubling up on an influence ability isn't ideal. Often, like Lannisters really know the effect of that in terms of High Sparrow and Joffrey effects. Like, they can't both be stacked when that is the ideal thing that you would possibly want to achieve. Is High Sparrow and Joffrey on a unit. I heal for the amount you take, and I do more to you. Lyanna and Caitlyn on the same unit would be like, hey, I've got max ranks again, and I now have crit blow, and I can reroll my attack dice, right? Like, but I mean, come on, you're in an absolute, like, this is the pinnacle. This is the perfect dream situation. The dream also says, I've lost 3 units, and I'm down to 1 rank. Like, why are we dreaming about this situation? Why don't we just dream about the situation that you discussed, which is, hey, I sacrificed a dog, and now my Tully Cavaliers have crit below. So, absolute suck it, because you're about to die.
Yes.
So, like, I think the actual application
It's a Monday. We know where we would be without Carlo.
Not my problem.
It's not your problem. Don't worry.
Okay. I wasn't hearing anything.
No, it's Carlo. It's a classic Monday. Carlo turns into Mr. Roboto briefly. It looks like he's out of Mr. Roboto now. It's actually the gods. The gods telling him that he said too much in one go. But yeah. Yeah.
I think maybe we can see Lyanna instead of Caitlyn in some Stark lists.
I think we will. Yeah, I think we will. I think we'll see. Lyanna in a lot of lists actually. Personally, we will see. I guess in time, whether or not that works out to be positive or not. There we go. You back, Carlo?
Sort of. Maybe you can hear me.
Yes, we can. Yeah. What was your final point there, Carlo? Before you got quite handily cut off. Has it done it again? Done it again. He's actually dropped out of the call. Oh no,
I don't know when I got cut off. More just that the actual implementation of it, I think, is fine. Like, I don't think you need to worry about when Caitlyn and Lyanna would stack against each other, because the reality is that they don't need to. They just want to go down on different units in different situations, and it's not actually a doubling up effect. And if you are considering doubling these up, then you've lost. You've already lost. Like, if you're trying to put this on a unit that is nearly dead to get Caitlyn's effect, and you've lost loads of other units to get Lyanna's effect, then, well, like, the game's already over, guys.
Yeah. Finally.
I don't.
What are you going to say there? Finally, one thing I'll say is people got really frustrated by Lyanna and said she wasn't very good. And I think you should look at her again. I think she's fine. I think Lyanna is going to be fine. And I'm going to say that about a lot of things, actually, in the coming box. Except for one thing. And I have prepared this specially because this next thing we're going to talk about, I have prepared this specially, is a full-on Carlo doubt. Robb Stark NCU. Coming
First
in.
of all, can we just say, why does Robb Stark look like he's wearing some kind of top hat?
20 points?
I don't know why he's wearing a top hat.
Like,
it's a spiky crown. It's the King of the North crown. Am I?
no, but it looks like a top hat.
Fine. Okay, Carlo's got this weird thing. Right. 5 points, Robb Stark.
Well, I don't know what he does, Mickey, because you just put my face over him.
Honestly, Carlo, it is better that I don't tell you what he does, because after I tell you, you're probably going to be like, what the actual fuck? Would you like me to read it to you? It is. After deployment, target one friendly combat unit. Remove it from the battlefield, placing it off the table in reserve. Once per game, when Robb claims the horses, you may replace that zone's effect with deploy the unit Robb placed in reserve, fully in short range of any flank table edge, and attach this card to them until the end of the game. While attached enemies this unit successfully charges in the flank or rear become panicked and vulnerable. He is a 5-point NCU that brings outflank to essentially any unit in your list.
And ambush.
And ambush, yeah. Shall we look at something else then?
think that...
No, go on, Danny.
I think I wouldn't play him at 4.
Wow.
Maybe, if the ability is optional, I might play him at 3 points. But if the ability is compulsory that you have to take one unit away from the table, maybe I wouldn't play him at 3. If the ability is compulsory.
It appears to be compulsory. After deployment, target one friendly combat. Remove it from. There's no may.
I'm not sure I would play him at 3 points.
I think that's a bit harsh, right? Like,
yeah,
they believe that outflank is worth a point.
I really don't like outflank.
No,
basically.
No, I agree.
think it's a waste of points and a waste of a unit, and most of the time you are in a bad situation when you play it because you have to go first and you have to take the horses. And if you play against Targaryens, they can just deny it. And I really don't like outflank. I think it's a trap. Outflank, basically, I think it's a trap for players.
I'm in the same boat.
At 5, I will never play him. Not even. I mean, no way.
Yeah, I agree.
No,
I'm trying to decide what value ambush has, and I just don't think it's much though. But like, the ambush. I don't think ambush is worth it. I am not
hearing anything now.
Oh,
you don't like it?
No, he's you just keep going. Keep going, Carlo. What's your thoughts? Fully. You don't think
so ambush is panicked and weakened, right? That's what he gives?
Yeah. Panicked and weakened. No, panicked and vulnerable.
The vulnerable token is the one that you really want, right?
It's panicked and vulnerable, not panicked and weakened. So you get it's Warcry, basically. Free Warcry.
Okay. So it's not quite ambush. Isn't because ambush is weakened and panicked, right?
Yes, yeah.
I think so. Okay. Well, vulnerable.
I don't hear Carlo.
No worries.
0.
I'll try and sort it out.
Vulnerable and panicked are the 2 tokens that you do want on the charge.
Yeah.
They are the most significant things that you can do to increase damage.
Mm-hmm.
He's not worth 5 points. Yep. I like the token aspect, but yeah, I mean he's not worth 5 points.
Would you play him at 4, Carlo?
Yeah, maybe.
Wow, that was it.
I mean,
maybe.
if it's okay, so the maybe depends on the matchup, right? Like in into Targaryens? No, never. That's stupid. Like, there is a time and a place when outflank isn't disastrous.
There is a thing here because it's not outflank. It is Robb. So intrigue and subterfuge fucks him completely. Lyanna fucks him completely. Anything that stops NCU abilities completely fucked because it has to be him that takes the zone, and it's his ability that gives them the outflank. So if he loses his abilities, he can't even bring them on.
Hasn't he already given them the ability at the start of the game?
Specifically,
and now all it has to be is that Robb took horses. It doesn't say Robb takes horses and replaces the zone's effect with, does it?
Yes, once per
it's a
game.
big downside because.
Yeah. Go on, Danny.
Yeah, I'm still not hearing Carlo, so I don't know if he's talking or not. But
no, it's fine.
I think it's a big downside for him because even if you have to put the unit in reserve and you want to place it in the flank, then you have to activate him. So, for example, you cannot activate another use like Lyanna, for example, and give him +1 morale to somebody. You have to activate him, and he does nothing but flank the unit.
Yeah. And specifically, that once per game, when Robb claims horses, you may replace that zone's effect with redeploy. If he loses that ability, you activate him, he loses his ability, he can't do the replace zone effect. He still has it, it's not used, but you can't even bring the unit on. So if you're playing something like that, you just go, oh, you're going to bring it on now, are you? No. And then it's like, oh, well, that's fucked.
Yeah, okay. I mean, yeah, he's dog shit.
I said that I'm not sure I would play him at 3 points.
Which is fair. It would be very fair not playing him at 3.
I'd play him at 3.
You'd play him at 3.
I mean, come on. He'd be a 3-point NCU. Right?
He'd be
like,
yeah, right.
At 3 points, I'd buy him, and I'd buy Grey Wind, and I'd outflank Grey Wind.
So,
and alright, so you stop me from bringing Grey Wind on. I'm like, fuck it, doesn't matter.
Yeah, so outflank Grey Wind, not bring him on because that's fine. It's an activation that you've had at least, and you haven't lost anything for 6 points. Too much. Doesn't that make him an activation for 6 points though, rather than an activation for 5? If you never bring Grey Wind on? Yeah, no, don't do that, Carlo. That is actually even worse activation economy. Okay, cool. I don't know how I'm going to manage this with Danny not being able to hear Carlo. Carlo can hear Danny, I'm pretty sure, which is useful. Which might just mean that Danny's got him locally muted, so I'll ask Danny to quickly check that, because it might just be that. Otherwise, I'm going to have to act as an amazing conduit of information here for Danny.
Don't worry, I've got nothing important to say.
Don't see anything on...
No, don't worry if you can't. I might just ask Carlo to disconnect and reconnect. Or it'll be a case of both of you doing that quickly while I steal the thunder and talk about the next new thing.
I can try and do that if you want.
Brilliant. We'll talk about this next thing in the meantime. Danny will be back with us in about 3 seconds, hopefully. The points cost, yeah, brilliant. The artwork's nice. A quick note so people are aware. Robb
it's
Stark.
Not. Robb looks like an idiot.
Robb does look a little bit like an idiot. But it's fine though, Carlo. Are you ready for this amazing extra thing that you didn't even know? Did you know that you can't run Robb Stark, King in the North, while Eddard is in your list? So not only does he not make the list at 5 points, but there are even less lists you can even run him in. There we go.
This is post Eddard's death version of Robb.
Yes. There you go. I don't expect to see him see play. And that's not even like in a competitive sense. I literally don't expect him to see play. The next thing is the 2-point attachments that have come in the box. So that is Brynden Tully, Rickard Karstark, and Maeve Mormont. all of the 2-point attachments. Now, Maeve Mormont and Brynden Tully, we already know them. They're in the game already. We can see them on stats already and in War Council. But Rickard Karstark is the new one, front and centre. Carlo, Stark Fury, the old one, so he gains crit blow, sundering, and takes 2 wounds, -1 for each rank missing. And on Uncontrollable Rage, the morale check for Gregor. Yep.
At 2 points?
Yep.
Like, 2-point attachments. I don't know, like... you know, like, it is a lot of stuff. But I still don't like sacrificing wounds. I don't like controlled rage. I don't like it at all.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would take it for 1.
Yeah. There we go. Danny should be back now.
Yeah.
Cool. Can you hear Carlo this time, Danny?
I think so.
That's good news, isn't it? That's what we like to hear. Stick your camera on wherever you can, Danny, and we'll get your lovely face back on screen.
Yeah, give me a second.
Which, by the way, I'm very disappointed in chat today. Nobody pointed out Danny's amazing beard. He's got a story about it. He's going to tell us all later on. But no one pointed it out. Everyone commented on Vlad's beard. Why not? Why not Danny's? All right. Yes. So Rickard Karstark, the new Stark Fury, the old Stark Fury before the change, and this uncontrollable rage mechanic, which Carlo said there he hates. I really don't know why you'd buy this 2-point attachment. Danny, what your thoughts on Rickard?
Yeah, I think it's always the same problem. 2 points attachment are hard to sell.
Yeah.
In case I don't see Rickard Stark attachment played. As also Mage Mormont, it's not played now, right?
Yeah. They're just
attachments are hard to sell.
Yeah, they are. They're just hard, and like I don't even think Maeve Mormont's that bad. It's just that she's 2 points, and you just have better things to spend it on. And Rickard Karstark, like I actually don't think he's good. I think he's terrible, and he's 2 points. Like I'm not even sure I'd buy him for 1. I'm not sold.
Bad. It's bad. Bad combo. Bad abilities. Bad. Like they're 2 half-point abilities.
Yeah.
They're not worth having.
Now there is a problem here as well, and this marks the first issue that we've seen so far from the hero boxes. This is the same Stark Fury order that Stark Sworn Swords had pre-Season 1 update. So as far as we are concerned, these cards are pre-Season 1, which means that some of them may be subject to change in a very quick or hopefully very soon released FAQ. If Rickard Karstark comes with Winter's Bite, you wouldn't even run him in Stark Sworn Swords. So you're going to run him in like Karstark Loyalists or something? That's probably not terrible, but not for 2. No.
Yeah, I mean, if the Stark Fury changes to the new Stark Fury, that is an improvement.
Yes.
Even though it doubles up with the current change, do you know what I mean? Like, even though you'd think, hey, having the 2 different abilities is the thing that's going to double together, but they don't. They're not good. This isn't a good ability. It's not worth having. It's the reason why nobody touched Stark Sworn Swords in the past, because their order was not a positive impact on the game. Sacrificing 2 wounds for those effects that generally didn't even generate you 2 wounds back in return. Not good. If he changes, yeah, maybe you want to give that Stark Sworn Swords ability to somebody. I still don't think that Uncontrolled Rage is a good ability, which I'm pretty sure we'll come on to with Robert Strong. Like, again, it's a bad ability there. They seem to value it incredibly highly because Robert Strong's price cost says so. Just no on so many levels. Even if he gets FAQ'd to have a different ability, still a no.
Yeah. Anything you want to add there, Danny, or do you think we've covered it?
Yeah, I agree. I like Stark Fury before, and the idea of getting wounds, auto wounds on yourself, always you have to gain something really good in order to get two wounds. But having critical blow and sundering, and I don't think it's that good. I mean, yeah, of course, if you are in the last rank with Berserkers and you got 9 dice, 2 plus critical blow and sundering, it's good, but it's a 8-point unit. So I don't like him. I don't like him.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement there as well. We move on to Rickard though in his commander form. So this is Rickard Karstark, Lord of the Carhold. He makes the unit he's in a House Karstark unit. He has superior numbers, which is what we see on the Karstark Loyalist attachment we'll see in a minute. But this unit's melee attacks may reroll any attack dice when attacking enemies with fewer remaining ranks. Similar mechanic to what the Mountain's Men had. And he also has Fueled by Slaughter, the one where if you do any wounds, you heal based on the number of missing ranks your opponent has. He has 3 cards. Of course, his attachment is not alone. He is the commander. He comes with these 3 cards. He comes with a Need for Vengeance, which is essentially, and I am glad with this card actually, it's essentially Careless Aggression that Vargo Hote brings, along with somebody else, I can't remember his name. Is it Dario in Targs it might be? Where you get the attack action and then the opponent activates an NCU at the start of round. The difference is his does give a House Karstark unit, if they're the ones making the attack, a +1 to hit, which is a nice little extra. He also comes with Taunt. Yes, he comes with Taunt in a card, and it is exactly the same as Taunt as the ability. The difference here is that it makes the enemy weakened if you targeted a House Karstark unit and they fail the test. So not only is it a charge they have to perform, but it's a weakened one. More on that in a second. And finally, Karstark Retribution, which is a long one. But when an enemy unit is performing an attack before rolling attack dice, if this attack targeted a House Karstark unit, attach this card to that enemy until the end of the game. Otherwise, attach it to the enemy unit until the end of the round. While attached, each time this unit completes an attack, they become vulnerable. Each time a rank in this unit is destroyed, one unit engaged with it restores 2 wounds. So it kind of comes like a almost like this idea that it will heal you and give you some like healing. The vulnerable makes it easier to do the wounds, right? It's almost like you turn a unit into a little bit more glass cannony, and it's not necessarily going to give you the outcome you want from one of your own units, which is a nice little thing that Rickard does. I actually do like that last card, Karstark Retribution. I think it's a very interesting design space. I think it really punishes these lists a little bit like Eddard lists or Drogo lists in some senses that rely on one unit, because you can just go, okay, yeah, but now take this, and I'm going to punish you every time you make that attack. Need for Vengeance for me is just an absolute meme. I don't think it's a good card. It has value in some builds, but I don't think Starks see value in it. And Taunt, yeah. Go on,
Isn't
Danny.
it the same exact card of the Vargo one, the one you said before, the Careless Aggression?
Yeah, pretty much.
What's the difference? Just +1 to it?
+1 to hit if it's a Karstark unit.
I don't call it Careless Aggression too.
Yeah.
I think that Taunt in a card is not as bad as Taunt as an order. So it's exactly the same as Targaryen Supremacy as a card is significantly better than Lannister Supremacy as an order, because when it's an order on a unit, you know it's going to come, and you have the choice of whether or not to attack that unit. Talking about Lannister Supremacy. When you're talking about Targaryen Supremacy, you can't choose to never attack a unit. But at every given moment, you have to be aware that Targaryen Supremacy could bounce back into you.
Yep.
The same with Taunt as a card. You know that Taunt as an order exists, it's on the board, and you choose to be within 6 inches and then activate that unit outside of very specific circumstances where your opponent's kind of you into some amazing position, which, well, you just got outmaneuvered, so, well, you're losing this game anyway. When it's a card, you can't choose to never be within short range of every unit in the game, right? And so it is a thing that you have to think about. I still think it's a meme. I still think it's stupid that like we're on a test and that nobody gets it.
Yep, keep going.
And I think that Robb Stark Retribution doesn't save him.
Do you think that the Fuel by Slaughter keyword on his attachment and the superior numbers, which isn't terrible on a max rank unit, especially Starksworn Swords, it gives them quite a nice little boon for always re-rolling, even basically on any ranks, basically at that point. They'll nearly always re-roll. Do you think that that is enough to warrant running him as a commander unit?
No.
Okay.
No. Like, attachment abilities almost always have to be supplementary to what the cards can achieve. And they aren't attachment abilities that are worth like absolutely writing home about anyway. I mean, look at the attachment abilities that other people can do, plus something, you know, Harden plus, Baylor, Adam Marbrand, Othel, you know, like all these guys, they're bringing so much power and so much good abilities that when we're talking about Rickard, we're like, yeah, that's like okay, but I mean, like his cards are not good, so no thanks.
Yeah,
it's not good, not bad. It's maybe somebody will play him, but I don't think he will be like a top commander.
No.
Yeah, fair enough. We'll move on. We've got Maeve Mormont, the commander variant. Hooray! She's in the game. What are we gonna do now that she's in the game? We're gonna kind of scratch our heads and say, why has Maeve Mormont, our commander variant, only have battle scars as her one ability on the card? Like, and affiliation House Mormont, that's kind of like a given, right? I'm not even going to go into the cards themselves. That just feels bad as an attachment. That is literally a 1 point attachment right there. Bellas has that for 1 point. As we'll come on to later, other people have that for 1 point. It's not good, right?
No.
Doesn't look amazing.
No.
And you know, on Friday, I think we had the spoiler of the box, and we knew there are gonna be 2 commanders, I think.
Three, believe it or not.
I guess it was Robb Stark, like king in the north, like a commander, but he's not, and that's pretty weird. I think everybody could guess that king in the north would be a commander, but he's not, and that surprised me. And I don't like it. I have to be honest. I mean, in a lore perspective, it's bad that he's not a commander, right?
Yeah, I no idea why King in the North isn't, and especially not only is he not a commander, but he's shit. Like, yeah, it's just a bad. And Maeve Mormont's not good. I don't think she has Sustained Assault, that really, really good Baratheon card that Starks really probably couldn't give a shit about, because it now combines with the same trigger as Winter's Might and Northern Ferocity. Is no. Support of Bear Island, which is essentially just a 2 copy of, and this isn't terrible, but this is a 2 of copy of Supply Aid in your deck. Cool.
Yeah.
Brilliant. They also make things weakened.
I mean, like, when you compare that to like, you know, Stand United Brothers or something like that, like that's not really a fair comparison.
Yeah. And then we have Here We Stand, which some people misread very heavily. And thank God they did, because if the original misreadings of this made this OP as all hell. Here We Stand is when a friendly unit will be destroyed, attach this card to that unit until the end of the round. When this card is removed, destroy the unit. People said the end of the game when they originally misread that, which, yes, here we stand, would legit be broken. It says, while attached, each time this unit would be destroyed, it performs 1 morale test. On a success, it is not destroyed but remains in play with 1 remaining wound. If this is a House Mormont unit, the first time it performs this test, it gains +2 to the roll. So for those of you not sure how this works, you play the card when you die, and you do a morale test with +2, and then you stay alive if you succeed, and then every time you would die that round anymore, you will keep rolling to see if you die or not as a flat morale test. So this is effectively an infinite use of to the last, but it only lasts that round. And at the end of the round, you remove the card, and as soon as the card gets removed, you die. So your unit is dead.
You don't do the morale test because somebody initially thought, okay, but when I remove it, I do the morale test, and if I pass it, the unit doesn't die. But no, because you don't have it attached anymore, so you actually die at the end of the round, no matter what.
That's very wishful reading of that card.
It is.
Yeah, I know.
The other thing here is as well, and we had a discussion here, at the end of the round trigger, the end of the round trigger for cards and stuff like this is specifically the first stage of the cleanup phase. So actually, this would come off before scoring objectives, so you can't even use it to hold a point. This card had the potential to be good. Then it was like, oh, but if it was every game, you just have it on a wolf on a 2+ morale, and you'd never be able to kill it. It would be unkillable, pretty much. And then it was like, but now it's just bad. Like, it's just not that good. The only way I...
Okay, but like, in that same frame of reference, like, you can still turn a wolf into a literal unkillable roadblock for one round.
You can.
For a round. Yeah. So I do think that it's a card that people have to be aware of and have to play around, but it's not enough to make Maeve a good commander.
No. Like, that's her best card.
Yeah.
And it's not good.
Yeah. That's her only good card.
Not enough for her.
No.
And also, I was looking at the card, and I think I know why she only has battle scars as an ability.
Why is that? Because she's trash.
No, probably there wasn't enough space to add anything else.
That's what someone else said. Someone else actually said that.
They just had battle scars and that's it. Just because there was any more space on the card.
Literally run out of room on the card. Here we stand wouldn't bother me if it was a case of, like, at least the unit survived the round with, like, 1 wound or whatever. But I just don't... I can't get behind Here We Stand because your unit's already dead. You're just kind of living on borrowed time. There's a lot to say about that with, like, a Stark Sworn Sword unit with a cat influence that die, and then it's just like, but now I've got, like, an Assault Orders play, and I'm just going to come in and rail on you with loads of big attacks. Yeah. Cool. Okay, I think I'd just rather...
idea can be good, but... Can you really do that on the game?
I'd just rather have here What Is Dead May Never Die in Starks, you know what I mean? Right.
Move on.
Yeah.
She's not worth it.
No. And the other one we've got is Brynden Tully, the commander, but we already have outright commander in the game. None of his cards, nothing's changed here. He is the same, except he's got the new artwork, and he does look pretty good on the new artwork, I'm not going to lie. He looks like a rugged man. In fact, if those of you that know the Chad meme, and like you see like Stannis Chad on A Song of Ice and Fire lore posting and things like this, he looks a little bit like the guy's face from the Chad meme. He's pretty headish. So yeah. Anyway, he's not changed. He's still good. The Loyalist captain.
I think that outright commander's all right, and I would like to see his play rating increase now that the box is out. I think he's decent.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he has played.
I've seen him play in the last tournament, and I think he's good.
Yeah. Hey,
it adds something different to Starks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the opportunity to run an
I
entire
don't know if
mounted
he's
force.
top tier, but
Anything where you can add in like a completely different look, an entire mounted force. It's one of the few things that makes me say that Mag is not ever going to be completely dead, because there'll be times where the meta moves away from it. You can run an entire giant force. You can run anything where you can polarize a list is always going to have a place somewhere. So yeah, and cavalry are good at the moment, so why not? Loyalist captains at 1, and they come with Furious Charge for the vulnerable on the charge and the superior numbers thing that Robb Stark Commander brought as well for melee attacks, rerolling any attack dice when attacking enemies with fewer ranks. Great. For 1 point, I think this is fine.
It's alright.
Yeah.
But whatever. It's not a Mormont veteran.
No, exactly. It's not a Mormont veteran.
I was actually saying the same. Everything in Starks to compete with Mormont veteran.
Yeah.
Right? And for 1 point, Mormont veteran is pretty strong. Maybe the strongest attachment you can get.
Yes.
So everything should compete with the veterans.
Yep. And it doesn't.
Obviously, he's completely different because he's more offensive and veterans are defensive, but it's still very good.
Yeah.
I mean, the veterans.
I will say that the Loyalist captain, he does at least somewhat compete with the Starksworn Sword captain, which is the other 1 point attachment with like an aggressive put vulnerables and rerolls, I think, on the order, isn't it? So vulnerable on the charge and rerolls on fewer ranks. It has equivalent values to the Starksworn Sword captain. One of them will probably end up being better than the other, but at least it seems on a par there. It's just that veterans are competing over here. So what does it matter? But yeah, we'll move on. And we'll move on to Carlo's favourite thing in the world. The back of a Stark Loyalist card. No. Lannisters. Lannisters. We have, coming up first, we have the attachments in the box. So this is Sir Robert Strong, 3 points, and a load of text about him in a minute, which I'll read through. Qyburn for 1 point. Gregor Clegane, the mounted behemoth, that is the mounted attachment for Gregor for 3. Adam Marbrand, the trusted bannerman, the 2 point attachment. And Jaime Lannister, the maimed hostage, the attach in your opponent army attachment, that one. So, 3 points, Sir Robert Strong. You have to have Qyburn or randomly Tommen in your list in order to run Sir Robert Strong. We'll look at Tommen later on. Actually, including Tommen, I do think is something people might do. You are not going to play 3 points, though, for Resilience and Unstoppable Wrath, which is the melee attack dealing +2 wounds. Right?
Trash tier. Would not buy for 2.
Okay. Right, Danny, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. When I saw the back of the card, 3 points, I thought, okay, relentless. And
yeah.
I saw the other picture, I say, Billions and Unstoppable Wrath, no way.
Is that one of those memes where someone's got one of those? It's like that thing, right? It says you see the green image appear, you see order written, and you're like, oh! And then you see R E, and then you're like, yeah, oh fuck.
Yeah, honestly, I was like exactly the same. I was like 3 points. All right, cool. What did we get with Relentless?
Yeah.
No, we got dog shit with dog shit.
Even just Relentless might be good, right?
Yeah. Oh. And you know what? We even said it. We even actually said it a couple of weeks ago that you maybe require Qyburn or something like that, but it would allow you to take a 3 point Relentless piece on Sir Robert Strong. It would make sense. No. Resilience actually does make sense. At least it's not a random ability. It makes sense, but it's not good.
And Qyburn's a piece of crap as well. So I'm not paying the 1 point tax for Qyburn, which is an absolute tax. Qyburn makes units worse for a point.
I don't know. The discussion on Qyburn.
I was almost willing to pay a point for Qyburn to then get Relentless for 3.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? But, like, that would have allowed Lannister's Relentless and an amazing side ability. Like, it could have been fucking Relentless and Unstoppable Wrath based on the fact that you're paying a tax of 1 point for Qyburn.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, I've basically paid 4 points for Relentless at this point, so I'm allowed to have Unstoppable Wrath with it. Qyburn is actively bad. Like, actually, I would not pay 0 points for Qyburn. I'm not even joking. I'm not even like being just like ridiculous here. If you offered me him for 0, I'm not putting him in my list.
I mean, is he that bad, really? I mean,
The only units that he's worth being in already have Vicious.
Well, what about the discussion I was having? And I do think it's a very legitimate thing. Is that Stormcrow mercenaries? You can make them cutthroats for a point.
They're worse.
But they're the same. Except because they don't get you can't expend weaken tokens. They have the same profile. The only difference is they don't
generate vulnerables when you attack
tokens.
people before they've activated, which is your most powerful ability.
It is. But that's the only one. Right? That's the only difference between the two. And you can attack on bags.
Ability.
Yeah.
You can attack on the bags, but basically they're the same. I don't like him either.
I think that's the only unit he's even remotely good in. I agree. I wouldn't pay a point for him elsewhere. I'd only use him to turn Stormcrow mercenaries into cutthroats. That's it.
I think Carlo's idea was pretty good because you might pay 1 point for something bad like Recon that basically gives away 1 point, but then you get something good like the dog or Asha, what's the name?
Yeah.
And maybe
both.
here it's the same. Like okay, you have to pay basically 4 points. But maybe you might have to pay 4 points to get Relentless, right? On the Robert Strong. And maybe he was even maybe a little bit stronger than the other Relentless guys, but then you have Qyburn, which isn't good, so you have to compensate somehow.
Yeah.
This way, I don't like them, both of them.
Yeah, it just ends up being a bad combo. And then there is the discussion, you don't have to have this 1 point Qyburn to run him. You can run the NCU Qyburn or Tommen to also unlock Sir Robert Strong. But at that point, you're obviously choosing very specific NCUs. I don't think Tommen is a bad NCU to pick up. So actually, that is a positive side for Robert Strong. But you're still not paying 3 points for him. Like, it's still just not worth it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Forget the additional text, right?
Yeah.
Forget the additional text. I'm still not buying Robert Strong for 3 points, even if I don't have to enable him with some other combo.
Yeah.
Still not buying him.
Yep.
So, like, him being enabled by another thing or a small range of things should give him room to be, like, maybe a bit too good for 3 points. And instead, he's way not good enough for 3 points.
Yeah. I mean, it's very similar to the Mounted Behemoth version with the uncontrollable rage and
Mounted Gregor is fucking garbage. Uncontrolled rage doesn't work properly on cavalry.
No. Doesn't. Simple fact. Jaime, we've covered the first two. Jaime, valuable captive, maimed hostage, has value. Saw him played in early parts of 2021. He was played against a lot of Othel type lists. He was quite popular against. I do think that he is obviously a very fringe pick. He is not the kind of thing that people are just going to pick up because they can, but it is the kind of thing that can appear in lists and people will take as a tech piece. And that's absolutely fine for something like that. That's exactly what it should be. Something that gets picked up for a reason. Adam Marbrand, the attachment, is Jaime's vassal. This model counts as Jaime Lannister when its unit is being targeted by tactics card. And Brienne. No, sorry. Jaime's protector. Not Renly's protector. After Jaime Lannister's unit's attacked, this unit performs one attack or charge action on the attacker. So he is just Brienne, but for Jaime. Great. But he's 2 points.
Nobody really uses Brienne.
Like Newt for Victarion.
Newt Victarion kind of mixed together. So as a result, it's Newt for 1 point, Brienne for 1 point. That makes 2 points, right? That's how it works. You add the points together because you add the abilities, right? No?
Yeah.
2 points.
Morbrand,
Yeah, 2
Morbrand
points.
might have seen play, and that is a might at 1 point. Actually would have been until I noticed that he was 2 points. I was like, ooh. Crossbows.
Crossbows. Yeah, 8 points.
But not for 8 points.
No. There is a problem.
Company crossbow for 10 points.
Yeah, why not? Golden Company crossbow for 10 points.
That they have Sentinel, right? So they will move a lot and maybe shoot sometimes.
Yeah, it would work. It's like Brienne in Sentinels, right? That really popular combo that never does anything. There is a problem as well. And that is Jaime's cards. Kingslayer's Renown doesn't target Jaime's unit. It requires you to be in long range of Jaime's unit. So this doesn't work off Adam Marbrand being on the board. It doesn't extend the range of his ability on Kingslayer's Renown because you're not targeting Jaime. Kingslayer's Prowess. Kingslayer's Prowess does target Jaime's unit and would allow you to have a second card to play that particular card on. And then Kingslayer's Infamy, again, when an enemy in long range of Lannister's units activates, it's not Jaime Lannister's unit. It's a card when targeted that acts as Jaime. This doesn't target them, therefore, this doesn't work off his card either. So really, that extra ability that you're getting is only impacting Kingslayer's Prowess and a small amount of Kingslayer's Renown.
The 5 of them are trashed here.
Yeah.
Just don't bother.
Maybe we are getting another Jaime.
Maybe.
Sorry,
it doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense.
No.
Yeah, possible. I mean, sorry, that's not true. Kickstarter Jaime is alright. We already had Kickstarter Jaime. The others, just don't bother, guys.
But it's funny because we're about to see something where
not asking for a new Jaime, just saying that this ability is not worth it.
No, Adam's just not. You're essentially paying 2 points for Brienne in Lannister. That's really all you're doing, and Brienne's not even good at 1. So, all right then. Time to look at. We'll look at the NCUs first. So we've got Kevin Lannister, Qyburn, and Tommen next in succession. Now, Kevin Lannister, the Master of Law, unbiased justice. Seems pretty biased to me when I read the card. Once per game, at the start of any turn, target any number of friendly combat units. See, it's not unbiased. He only helps his friends. One of those units restores 2 wounds. One of those units restores all removes all condition tokens. One of those units performs a 2-inch shift. And until the end of the round, one of those units attacks, uses its highest dice roll, and may re-roll any dice. In the same way that Tywin does, the same unit can be targeted by any or all abilities. So you can heal 2, remove all conditions, perform a 2-inch shift, and use your highest attack dice, and re-roll all of your attacks for that round. I believe Kevin comes in at 5. What do you think? Are you picking up, Carlo?
You know, like, I can't tell you who should be 4, but I'm not quite happy with him at 5. I feel like he's maybe just like 1 more extra ability away from being worth the 5. Yeah, you know, like, the problem is that unlike Tywin, right? Like, he is inverted Tywin.
Yeah.
Tywin gets to do all of those things because they're aggressive, right? It's like, hey, I'm gonna stick out all these tokens and all these hits and do this aggressive thing and this aggressive thing and this aggressive thing. Kevin's are basically healing based, removal based, but you can't guarantee that you want to heal 2 wounds plus remove a load of tokens plus let somebody attack on their highest attack dice and get rerolls all at the same time. Like, you can't know that you want all of those effects, or you are going to find it very, very difficult to get the timing right on when all of those will have a good use, right? Whereas Tywin's, it's always worthwhile putting out some hits plus some plus tokens wherever you need them plus XYZ. I just think that he won't reach his full potential very often, and he's expensive if he does achieve his full potential.
Yeah. Danny, 5 point Kevin.
Fine, it's nice, right? Having like as a lore, having him like the opposite of Tywin, it's nice as a design piece.
Yeah.
I don't know. As a piece that you have to play, I don't know. I really don't know. We will see.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I do, again, I'm in the same kind of boat as you, Danny. It is nice from a thematic perspective that Kevin is kind of like a nice version of Tywin, because the two are kind of polars in that sense. But yeah, in terms of the game, like, I think Kevin will see play. I do think Kevin will see play. I don't think he's bad. I just don't think he's that good. He's not complete trash though, thankfully. Qyburn, Master of Whispers, comes in. Now, this is super strange because Qyburn, Master of Whispers, actually has flavor text on the back. He can't be included with Varys. So you only take Qyburn or Varys. So in my head, when I first thought about this, I was like, so this is going to be a better, like, Lannister-only version of Varys in my head. Was kind of where I thought it was going. Let's have a little look. It has the 4 tokens, same as Varys, and every time your opponent takes a zone, you can spend a token to do a thing, just like Varys, right? Same mechanic as Varys, but different effects. So Crown, one enemy becomes panicked. So I take the Crown, Carlo can make one of my units panicked. Fine. Wealth, one enemy combat unit suffers a wound. Fine, I guess. Swords, attacker counts as having -1 rank for attack dice, which we're all assuming means 1 less rank than they're currently on, except if you're on 1 rank, where you can't attack on 0 ranks, because that's not a thing in the game, so it must only mean 1 rank. Or does it mean it counts as having -1 rank? So I have a rank of -1. Is that what it means? Let's go for the assumption that it means 1 less rank within the 3 ranks that you've got, down to a minimum. Because otherwise it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Letters, opponent draws 1 fewer tactics card. Have effects like this coming up later on. Fine, I think. And then the horse, an enemy moves with -1 movement. Carlo, you're a Lannister player.
Varys.
Yeah, he is.
Points?
For 5 points.
For 5.
He is literally Varys in mechanic and points cost, but with just different effects.
He's shit. Move on. that's another tax to enable the shit Robert Strong.
Yeah. I also don't like they put the crown, bag, and then the swords instead of the letter.
I know. They're definitely in the wrong order. I
don't. It bothers me actually.
The one thing that I don't like about this is that, like, the current Varys kind of penalizes solos a little bit. You know, takes swords and there's some hits coming in on like something like a solo or something like that. Whereas we've got Qyburn here, and it's like, you take the bags, I'm going to just cause a wound to something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that's just never a nice mechanic. It's what old Walder had, right? It's never a nice mechanic for something like a Jorah. Because you're just kind of like, oh. Now, does it...
Yeah, but he can't kill.
No.
So,
he can't kill.
Like...
He's not that good. But it's one of those things which I've always said is that you've got to be very careful where things like that exist. Because for example, something that it does kill, it would kill something like a skin changer bear or something like that. Now, do I think that's a bad thing? No, I think that's fine. I've got no issues with that. But it does mean that design space of 1 wound units that kind of like appear or something like this.
Oh, come off it. That design space for 1 wound units, that's a bear.
It is at the moment, yeah.
There is nothing else in the entire game that has 1 wound.
No. Except, no. Except something that's just been to the lasted. So it hard counters something like to the last as well.
Right, I mean...
Because your opponent cannot take the bag if he has 1 unit with just 1 wound left. But does that happen? I mean, it does happen.
Mm-hmm.
But a little bit too situational.
I think that incredibly specific scenario, that incredibly specific situation, is the only time that he's useful.
That's the thing. The only other time I think he is potentially good is if we're playing into a game, and I don't believe this is true, but we're playing into a game where people struggle with card draw, and being able to reduce the number of cards they draw off letters might be good, but the rest is garbage. The -1 movement isn't worth it, the -1 rank isn't worth it, and the panic token probably isn't worth it most of the time. So it's whether or not 1 card draw over 2 is worth it, and I that's dubious at best whether that's worth it in most lists. Especially for 5. That's the problem for 5.
He's not the biggest trash tier thing you've ever seen because...
Yeah? Not the biggest trash tier thing?
But only because, unlike some other 5s, I would buy him at 4.
Fair enough. That's fair enough. If Carlo thinks he's good at 4, or buyable at 4, then...
Buyable. He's not my first. He's not my first NCU at 4.
No.
No way is he the first. He sneaks in as my 3rd NCU at 4.
Yeah. Now, this next one I do think... Yeah, go on, Danny.
Just was saying that as per Kevin, we said it's very nice design, right? To having like an alternative character as Varys. So we have Kevin and Tywin, and then we have Varys and Qyburn. It's nice. It's a very nice design. But in terms of competitive play, I'm not sold on him.
No, it just doesn't got the power.
I don't play Lannister, so just saying.
You wouldn't be that sad if you saw this over the board from me though. Tom and Baratheon, the last NC we got in the box. I think this one is actually worthy of a conversation though. That is more interesting. He works in the same way that Cersei does. Interestingly, doesn't block Cersei, even though Cersei's on the model. It does not prevent you taking Cersei in the list. Bizarre. So each time Tommen claims a zone, you may move an order token from it. If you do, perform the following. If you control crowns, search your tactics deck or discard pile for fealty of the crown. Add it to your hand. Shuffle deck. And if you control bags, you can get bribery. And I think that this particular combination of things, I think this particular NCU for 4 points as almost a direct replacement for Cersei, I think is actually probably better than Cersei. I think that this will see play at 4 points, personally. I don't know what you think, Carlo. Why?
Yeah, like they're not cards worth searching for.
Exactly.
Like, fealty's okay.
Mm-hmm. No, so fealty in my head is something you want to get back, but specifically bribery is something you want out of the deck fucking ASAP. So you don't have to draw into it, because the worst thing you can do is take letters, draw into bribery, and go, oh, sad face. You just want bribery out of the deck, so anything that gets it out of the deck is just good.
So we're basically saying this is like Cersei. I'm gonna go and get power and then
yeah. I think it has. I think that this is.
I don't.
I'm not saying it's the first NCU, but I think it's better than Cersei. So. I know. Carlo, what?
Like, fealty is hear me roar, and bribery is subjugation of power. Like, they're the same NCU. They're just the same thing. And Cersei's not good, so I don't see why Tommen is.
Fair enough. Danny.
And I don't think either of them are very good since Joffrey got nerfed as well.
Yeah, and I mean that's the much bigger hit. Danny.
Maybe you can go take these cards just to discard them, and then your deck will run maybe a little bit faster. I don't know. I just think about that now at the moment, so I might be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, once you've gotten rid of the trash tier cards, the Lannister's deck is about as good as everybody else's.
Yeah.
You just want to trash them, and so maybe your commander's card will get you on your hand faster. Maybe that can be a strategy.
Yeah.
Because you want them, just because you want to discard them as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm. You go first. Go first on round 1.
That was just a thought.
Here's the thing, right? You go first round 1. You take an NCU onto like the bags or the crowns, and just give your opponent horses, assuming they're not free fit, because that's just dumb. And then the second activation of the round, you take NCU and put them on crowns, and that's like Cersei or one of Tommen, and you go, right, and when I do that, haha, I'm going to take 2 cards out of my deck, and then you activate the other one of Cersei or Tommen as the third NCU in the first round of the game, and go, haha, I'm going to take 2 more cards out of the deck, and at the end of that round you go, and they're all in the bin. I've just played the game with basically 4 less cards than everyone else, and I paid 8 points for that.
That might be good, because sometimes you don't have the cards that you need, so that might be a strategy. I'm not sure about it. I really don't sure, but that might be a strategy, just to trash the cards that you don't want, so the other ones will get. You have more probability to get them.
Yeah.
I just, like.
There's a brilliant moment for Carlo.
Littlefinger.
No.
Even
just hearing funny noises.
Don't worry, it's just Carlo's internet. It happens. I was hoping his internet would kick back in there after the first initial stages, but it's clearly on a downward spiral. Look, the Lannister takes so far. Look at Carlo being upset. That's all we need to know. Silent Carlo looking sad is actually all that matters. Cool.
Pretty much.
Oh, there we go. He's back. You see, now he's stopped having a rant. See, the internet hates his rants. It's Simon. Simon are here. So, the last thing we've got to talk about with Lannisters is the 2 commanders. We've got Adam Marbrand and Kevin Lannister. Now, I think this is the point where Carlo is going to turn around and probably be quite excited. Adam Marbrand, Carlo. You look at a commander and see Hardened and Iron Resolve. Are you a happy man?
Yeah. I mean,
see, it just doesn't like him in emotion. It's a bad day today for the internet. Clearly, the weather outside, which has not been good in Darlington, by the way, completely fucked my internet. My fault, not Carlo's. So just blame that one on him. Me, not him. Don't blame it on him.
That's all.
There he goes. Just dropped out. So, what do you think about him, Danny?
I think he's good, but as we were saying before, they instead of reworking Hardened, they just spamming it, right? So everybody now has Hardened access, and I don't think that's a great idea. Mm-hmm. I mean, Hardened is not really a fun ability to play against, and we were saying you have to consider it every single list. So you have to have some auto wounds or some precisions or dragons to get through this hardened spam that we are going to see even much more in these new boxes. I think that's my idea.
Yeah, obviously hardened we've talked about a lot, but I do think it's going to become more and more present. We'll get onto a combination here. Interestingly, Friend Pie has said it in chat there. Adam, is unkillable with warrior sons? Yes, this was the combo that was talked about from a 7-point unit.
Yeah.
What do you think of the combination of the Adam Marbrand hardened and specifically Lannister warrior sons with their battle prayer ability?
I was talking about it with some friend of mine yesterday, and I said people complain about expert duelists, right?
Yep.
Especially on Drogon.
Yep.
Drogo is probably the only way to deal with him. You can just set out and then you take away the hardened, because hardened and also iron resolve.
Yes.
So
Iron
they
resolve.
both together they're crazy. They're really strong.
Yeah, the combination, especially when we consider the warrior son combo, is a unit on a 4+ armor and a 4+ morale with -1 wound, and it's blocking at full ranks. It blocks 2 hits for free. At 2 ranks, it blocks 4 hits for free, and at 1 rank, it blocks 6 hits for free. Can you genuinely tell me the last time where you had 6 unblocked hits on a 4+ armor save?
I think that the best you can do is with Belwas as a commander in the pikeman, that you always block 4, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
There are 3, yeah, 4. You always block 4. I mean, not always. With the order, you block 4.
Yeah.
Belwas is useless. Everybody knows that. I think it's pretty strong character. Maybe it might be the strongest character for Lannister.
Mm-hmm.
So the cards are not bad. There is one card that heals tons of wounds. That one is pretty strong in the unit that is pretty much unkillable. So you can heal like 11 wounds or something like that.
Yeah. So actually, you bring up the good point. The Valiant example card that we see in the top right, that your face is nicely covering, which is after Adam Marbrand's unit passes a morale check, all other friendly units in long range restore 1 wound plus 1 wound for each destroyed rank that they have. Sorry, plus 1 wound for each destroyed rank in Adam's unit. And then importantly, it says, and I do like this as a good thing in a card, it then says, then restore 2 wounds to Adam's unit. So you do it, you get the extra healing, and then you restore 2 wounds. This is very good in that warrior song combo. You're blocking 6 hits on your last rank.
And it doesn't block hardened, because even if you gain one rank, you already had the +1 with hardened. So.
Okay. It looks like Internet for Carlo has given up the ghost, so we're going to continue the rest of the episode without him. Which is a massive shame, of course. It's half the reason why people come here is to see Carlo react badly to things. Well to things. So we'll just give a Carlo unhappy face. He might be able to join us in the chat. We'll see. See what any thoughts that he's got that aren't covered here. But yes, yeah. So I mean, I think that card is good. The combo is good. Lash Out is always a good card. You know, it's a fine card against certain stuff. And Charismatic Leadership, which is very interesting. This, to me, seems like something that a Baratheon unit or Baratheon commander, something like Renly, could have really done with. Now, we've obviously got his boisterous, whatever it's called, on Renly Lord Paramount. I forget the name of the ability, but it means he's untargetable by a lot of those things. Wrong list. I'll find him here. Or was it boisterous charisma? That was it. And this is kind of the similar thing, right? Charismatic leadership. You perform a morale test on the unit that's being targeted by an order, NCU order, enemy order, NCU, or tactic zone. And then you cancel it if you succeed the morale test. And if they're in short range of Adam Marbrand, they get +2 to the morale check roll. I think this is a good card. I like charismatic leadership. I think it's good.
I think it's a commander. All in all, he's a very good commander.
Yeah. I fully expect to see him played a lot.
My feeling is that they are making like they should give people reasons to use characters, right?
Yeah.
I didn't read all the books. I just stopped after 2.5 because I didn't have time. I plan to do that when I will have time to, and I plan to read them all. But I don't really know this character, Adam Marbrand, and never heard of him.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe people will not use him because they don't relate to him. Anyway, he's very strong, so people will use it. So I think we are seeing many interesting characters as a background, as a lore, such as Robb King in the North. That he's maybe one of the most likable character in the book. I love him, and he's not very good in the game. And instead, characters that nobody knows, they are stronger, so they give a reason to play them. It's this kind of feeling.
Yeah,
I might be wrong.
I can see where you're coming from though, and yeah, obviously you want the named characters to be good, but you're right. The Robb King in the North really does just goes counter to that idea. And like making a commander or a character that's lesser well known, but good, is an excuse to get the name more widely used. Just so you know, Danny, in chat, you've made Marwyn very unhappy. He's going to go cry now because you said you just stopped reading the book. So
I just stop reading the book just because I don't have time. I plan to read them all because
good.
I'm really busy at the moment, so I had to let's say I didn't stop. I took a break.
Took a break. That's fine. I'm sure Marwyn can recover that. Otherwise, he was probably gonna not just cry but have a mini heart attack as well. All right then. So the other commander that we saw is Kevan Lannister, who comes with Lannister supremacy in the same way that Tywin does, and Might of the Throne. Each time a friendly NCU claims crowns, you may replace that zone's effect with Kevan's Lannister units performs one attack or charge action. That's good, I think. We'll have a look at its cards. And we've got Predictable Maneuvers, which is the same as the Free Folk version, which we already know. Seeing Their Flaws, which I believe is similar... Is Seeing Their Flaws in the game? I'm pretty sure Seeing Their Flaws is in their game, isn't it? Is that with one of the Vargo or someone like that?
I can check.
No, Dario. Maybe I'm forgetting. I swear Seeing Their Flaws was in the game. If anyone does know where it appears, that would be amazing. I swear it is. But Seeing Their Flaws. Which is after an enemy combat unit completes an action, they become vulnerable and panicked. And you attach this card, Seeing Their Flaws, to the enemy until the end of the round. And while attached, Kevan Lannister's unit is attacking that enemy. While that enemy loses all abilities and cannot be targeted by friendly tactics cards. Alissa Commander, thank you. Alissa Thorne has it. Is the other version. I think that might be pretty good because you can charge off crowns with Kevan. And I think that has power. It's not conditional. All the unit has to do is do something, then you can punish it. I think that might be quite good. And the other final card, the Lannister players everywhere to be happy about, Wealth of the Rock. When an enemy is performing attack dice, after rolling the attack dice, target the defender. If you control crowns, they gain +2 to the panic test, and if you control bags, they gain +1 to the defense dice rolls. And if it targets Kevin, you count as controlling both, regardless of which ones you actually control. What do you think of those three? Those three cards together?
I think it's not bad. And I like the most the thing that he can charge an attack on crown with the crown.
Yep, that's very Targaryen, isn't it?
Yeah, that's probably why I like it.
Yeah.
So with the Lannister, you always want the crown, right? But sometimes you don't have a real use for it, because if opponent has very solid morale units, you are wasting the zone. But you want it for the cards, you want it for the units. Way you can do something else. And I think the idea of charging and attacking with the crown is really nice. And the cards are fine too. I think they're fine. I like him.
Yeah, no, I think Kevin's good. I think Adam Marbrand might be better. So I think Adam might even be like outside of maybe Roose or something. Adam might be the best commander for Lannisters right now. But I do think Kevin is a consideration, and I think that that's important. I don't look at him and think he's just bad. I think he has positives, and that's a good thing. Lannisters are a bit everywhere at the moment. They haven't really got standout commanders outside of probably Roose. Let's have a little look at the power rankings, just double checking I'm not going insane. But yeah, I do think that these will make it into playable commanders. I don't know if they're enough to bring the faction up as a whole, but I definitely think they're at a level to compete with Roose. So, yeah.
If I remember right, I don't know if it was the last podcast or the one before, you were saying that one faction can be much better just with one good commander.
Yes. Yeah.
In this case, Lannister are getting two good commanders. One is pretty good, and the other one it's also not bad.
Yeah.
So maybe they can get a boost with these two commanders. Maybe.
Yeah. Obviously, we know that Lannisters also suffer in the unit department, but that's a discussion for another day. Cool. Brilliant. We'll move on to the last faction then. We're nearly 2 hours in and we haven't even moved on to the important main feast of today. God. And the last faction to cover is Free Folk. And believe it or not, I'm going to cover this quite quickly. So, we have number one. Numero uno is Baroque's Boar. He is 2 points. 2 points. He is a 3-wound solo. He does not give up victory points when he dies. He has a free cavalry maneuver. At the start of the round, if he's not within long range of Baroque, the guy that you have to take to get the boar, he is destroyed. So he's a little bit like freed men now in that style, I guess. And he does not activate as normal. Instead, when Baroque's unit activates, this unit activates immediately after him. So this is not a 2-point activation. It's an always-on ghost mechanic style thing. They'll be like the old Skin Changer Bears. A 5 move, say with cavalry, a 3 dice on 3+, with Sundering, and after it completes the attack, it restores a wound, and a 4+ armor, 2+ morale. I think this is fine. Personally, I think this is fine for me. I think it will be useful as a roadblock. And I think it's another body for your body cards that require things in short range. The other thing is it's a monster, so I did think about this as a unit that will see play, believe it or not, in mag decks, because a cheap monster that you have access to is something that is useful for mags cards. So yeah, I think this might see play. I'm not a fan. I don't think it's massively good. But it's not bad, and it has a place. So yeah.
I think that maybe somebody a while ago suggested that wolves could be like him.
Yeah.
1 or 2 points, but they don't activate. They don't have their own activation. They just activate with the unit.
Yeah.
I think it's fine. It's nice, and also I have a friend of mine who's playing Free Folk now. He has just starting in the last months playing Free Folk. And the idea of having boars and bears and mammoths and all the circus around. It's nice. I think it's nice.
Yeah.
And also we are getting like another character which I don't know, and I hope Marwyn will not get a heart attack, but they want like the 6 skins or something like that.
Faramir
I don't know.
Yeah.
And I think he also will bring like books or something like that. And
yeah.
idea, I love the idea. I really love the idea.
Yeah. Carlo's not a fan of solos, but I like the idea of it. And it's not a thing that some people want, but I don't have a problem being the monster faction if that's the direction they want to go, and having interesting monsters and interesting beasts. So,
as we said before, it's a possibility to play the free folk in a different way, right? So
yes.
You can play like the spam, or you can play with the monsters, and you have different solutions. It's good. Like we were saying about the same thing about Brand and Tully earlier, right?
Yeah, exactly the same thing. All right then. So we'll move on to the attachments first of all. There are 4 in the box, not including commanders. We've got the Great Walrus at 1. We've got Jon Snow at 2. Jon Snow making it into free folk. We've got Mance Rayder Abel the Bard 2, but he works in the same way that Maim Jaime works, so you put him in another unit, and Baroque at 2. Let's have a look at the abilities. So the Great Walrus, 1 point, Battle Scars, Belwas, probably not good. Move on. No, I do think the Battle Scars has a play in free folk. There are things you can do with coordination tactics to make this a bit more viable. And with Raiders, it's basically free. So the problem at the moment is whether I take this over Weeper for 1 point at the moment, or a Raid Leader, or a Champion of Bone. And I don't know if I do most of the time. But it's an attachment that you might take and has value and gives you an alternative. So that's a good thing. I don't think he's good. Any thoughts on that one, Danny?
They're giving battle scars to everybody,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah, everyone's got battle scars.
Yeah. So Bell was at first, then Greyjoy, and now Starks with Lyanna and Free Folk with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't love battle scars as an ability, but that'd be fun.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of his ability. I don't think it's very good.
And me neither.
Jon Snow comes with Reckless Heroism, the D3 wounds for an auto 6 when performing a charge, and Southern Knowledge once per game at the start of any turn. Target 1 enemy in long range and line of sight. Until the end of turn, they lose all abilities and cannot be the target of friendly tactics cards. That is good. I do think that Jon Snow will see play. I think Jon Snow is good. There's also another problem, which is why I think Southern Knowledge is good. As far as I'm aware, you can copy Southern Knowledge onto a unit that doesn't have it with coordination tactics, use it on the unit that doesn't have it, Jon Snow in normally, and still have Jon Snow's version unused. So the fact that you could potentially turn not just one thing off, but 3 things off across a game is powerful. It only turns them off for the turn. It doesn't turn them off for a round. It's not like it's going to be gone forever. It's literally, now's your opportunity to get them. I think I might play this in some form of elite free folk list that I'm trying to think and put together, and I do think this has play. I really do. I want to turn off Adam Marbrand.
That's probably even because we were talking about the 2-point attachments before, right?
Yeah.
And we said that it's hard to put them in a list. But with free folk, it's a little bit different because Raiders, all of them, they pay 1 less for the attachments. So
it's still hard, but it's less hard. You can make that. You can make that gap. We'll come on to Mance in a second. Baroque, the 2-point skin changer bloke. He comes with hidden traps, but he's got the old version of hidden traps, which I'm sure is going to get FAQ'd to be the more modern one. And he comes with Stalwart. Now, I actually do think that him as a 2-point attachment is fine. Turning a unit of raiders with the Tormund buff in the Mance list, meaning that the Stalwart +2, you lose Warcry, but gain hidden traps. And I do think having a 5-point unit of trappers, basically, on a 3+ morale inside the Mance bubble is good. I do think it's good. I don't think skin changes are good enough in those lists, but I do think this is good.
By looking at this old hidden traps order, I think that they fact in the hidden trap. If I have an FAQ for the hidden traps, be an FAQ also for Stark Fury, maybe for Rickard Stark, Karstark. What's
hopefully,
his name?
yeah. I really hope they do, for Rickard's sake. Yeah. I think he's playable too. I play him. I'm playing potentially Jon Snow, potentially Baroque. I'm not sure on Jon Snow really. I think there might be some memes in there, but
Baroque. How many points is Baroque? 2 or 1?
2 points as well.
And he also gives you a possibility to bring the boar.
Yeah. I think, without the boar even considering, I think he's almost a direct replacement for Tormund in lists that don't necessarily need the tokens to go and kill stuff and aren't interested in that kind of play. Mance Raider, the Abel the Bard, is a 2-point enemy attachment. And he comes with 2 abilities. He comes with Camp Followers. Each time the unit that Mance is in activates, it suffers 1 hit for each of its remaining ranks. That's pretty good in my opinion.
The ability of Jaime.
It
Jaime
is similar to Jaime, I believe. Maimed Jaime has they get -1 to hit from crowns. It used to be old Maimed Jaime, I think. It was the old
the old one.
Jaime.
Yes. Used by the old one. Yes.
But it also comes with the turncoat ability of Sabotage and Subvert. So once per game at the start of any turn, your opponent may deal this unit 1 wound, removing the Mance model. If they do, they place 1 condition token on the unit, and it may not use orders or be the target of friendly tactics cards this turn. So that's good. That is interesting in my opinion. So yeah, I do think that Mance 2 points will see play.
I think the only problem right now is that Mance commander is actually the strongest commander for Free Folk. So
yes,
you cannot play him in a Mance Raider list. So
no, exactly. I've got some things cooking up. I've got some ideas going for a list that is all in on a little bit of a meme. But if things like Hardened and other similar effects keep relevancy in the game, then I actually think that a meme list that just does a lot of hits on stuff stops being a meme anymore. Because getting free hits on stuff that bypasses Hardened is good. So yeah, we'll come back onto that later on. Yeah, go on.
The Jon Snow ability can be a counter for Hardened.
Any ability.
Yeah, they lose all abilities, and so they also lose Hardened. So
yeah,
they are giving us ways to go through Hardened somehow.
Yeah, which is okay.
Which is okay.
We'll see. We'll see how it works in Free Folk. Next up, we've got the NCUs. We'll go through the NCUs quickly. We've got Lady Dala, Mance Raider, and Jon Snow. Lady Dala only appears in NCU. She's a 5-point NCU, so competing with Styre. And each time she claims a zone, perform the following based on the zone she claims. So if you take crowns, you do the panic test and everything like that, and 1 enemy becomes weakened as well. That alone in Free Folk is a useful tool That has value. Bags. Instead of removing a condition token, so you're just getting the 3 heal, but you target one enemy engaged with the unit that you heal, they suffer 1 hit plus 1 hit for each remaining rank in the unit. Hey, 3 hits. Love it. Although I don't know if removing a condition token it probably is worth that trade-off. I don't know if you've got to be able to remove it. It is important that these are not choices, by the way. You have to do the alternative ones that Della presents.
Yeah.
And lastly, letters. Instead of drawing cards, look at the top 2 of your opponent's tactics deck. You may discard one of these cards, then place the remaining cards on the top of the deck. That is good.
Yeah.
Card draw Yeah, go on.
Especially if you have already 5 cards in hand, it may happen. So you don't want to take the letter. If you have 5 cards in hand, you can use it and just control the opponent deck.
Yeah. Now, the thing I like about this as well is that you see the top card of the deck. You know what they're going to draw with 1 draw. And that's hand information. Hand information is useful. It gives you something that you don't have to worry about.
Discard 1 card.
Yeah, and discard 1 card, right?
It's pretty good.
Yeah. I don't know if it's amazing. I don't know if I'm going to take it for 5. I don't know where I stand with it, but I do think it's playable. I do think it is an option to replace Steer.
5 points, always the same way.
Yeah.
NCUs at 5s and at 6 are hard to fill in the list.
Yeah, and that's where the Deceptive Bard comes in, because he's a 6-point NCU. And he has Intrigue and Subterfuge, effectively the Lannister card, on a once per game stick. Once per game, when an enemy NCU activates, that NCU loses all abilities until the end of the round. That's fine. Against a Wendemere, maybe, or a Tywin, maybe, but Tywin's never going to use a Tywin bomb that isn't the start of the round. Maybe a Kevin you can turn off now if people run that. Varys's, stuff like that. I'm not so convinced that this is that amazing, because it's a 6-point NCU, you're paying for that. His influence ability. While influencing an enemy unit, your opponent may not target that unit with tactics cards, effects, or influence abilities.
It's basically a different version of Barristan.
Yeah, an alternative version. Not being able to target them, of course, during the whole influence is more powerful than Barristan for that one-off. But it comes in at 6 points. Again, the problem becomes here is that I'm running Mance Commander, so why am I running a 6-point NCU that's Mance? So it's difficult. Finally, a 4-point NCU though, which immediately makes it more interesting to talk about. Jon Snow, Southern Discipline. Once per game, at the start of any round, you may search your tactics deck or discard pile for 1 coordination tactics or regroup and reform tactics card, and add to your hand, shuffle your tactics deck. I don't know if this is that good, but coming in at 4 points, it means that you can consider him. And Coordination Tactics and Regroup and Reform are good cards. I especially like this when someone runs the Rattleshirt meme list, where you're running something like a commander of something like Steer in something, and then Rattleshirt in his Bone Lords Chosen as a 9-point unit, and then including the Harmer's Bannerman in at 10. Because it allows you to then go, I'm going to take the Bannerman out and put any attachment in there at the start of the game by using this once per game ability straight away at the start of the game. And I can just immediately put whatever I want into my 10-point unit and make it an 11 or 12-point value unit. Outside of that, it's fine. Yeah.
I think it's playable, and also it's Jon Snow, so people love him. So I think we will see him.
Yeah, exactly. I think you'll see play. I don't know how good he is, but I think you'll see play at 4. The Great Walrus himself, though, affiliation, he makes his unit Frozen Shore, and he has Go Down Fighting and Hardened.
Who would have guessed?
Who would have guessed hardened? Oh dear.
Everybody's getting hardened.
Don't say that too loudly when not in public. When in public, by the way, everyone's getting hardened. That's a very strange thing to say, but it is true. Everyone is getting hardened.
Yeah.
So let's have a look at his cards. We've got Battle Endurance, which is this is the same Battle Endurance as Eldon's, not the same Battle Endurance as Grey Worms. So it's the nerfed version of Battle Endurance. Sadness.
Just melee.
Just melee. Yep. We've got Frozen Shore Resilience, which others may know as there's someone else has got it, but it's the shield that guards the realm of men, basically, combined a little bit with fire that burns against the cold. So when an enemy is performing attack dice after rolling defense dice, target the defender. They may re-roll any defense dice, and if the defender is a Frozen Shore unit, they may also re-roll any panic dice. It's fine for a card. It's not amazing, but it's fine for a card. Re-rolling attack defense dice is something we have seen before. Yeah. And then the Walrus Strength. When a friendly unit is performing a melee attack before rolling attack die, if the unit is a Frozen Shore unit, it gets +1. And if you began the turn engaged with the defender, it rolls its highest attack die value. In short, it's kind of like what was the thing we saw earlier? The Baratheon card that's not that good. That's appearing in Lannisters. Where are we? Not Lannisters. Appearing in Starks, isn't it? Jesus. Sustained Assault. It's a little bit like Sustained Assault.
I think he's fine, but yeah, he has Harden, so Harden is always a nice ability to have.
Yeah. The one thing I will say, the one thing I'll say though, his Hardened is simply less effective because the best unit can go in is a 4+ save. You can't put Hardened in a 3+ or a 2+ save, which, there are things out there that you can do that. Now, 4+ save is still good. A Hardened in Thens is still good. We see that a lot. We see Hardened come up in 5+ saves, and that's still good. Hardened is still good.
Yeah.
But it does mean that that's realistically the best it can ever be. That doesn't make it bad, though. Yeah, any other thoughts?
I like him, and I think I like the idea of having sub-faction on factions, so also in Free Folk. So now we have this Frozen Shore sub-faction. I like the idea, I like the design.
For those of you not aware, it's Frozen Shore Bears, Frozen Shore Chariots. They're the only two things that exist in the game currently. And of course, whichever unit exists within with the Great Walrus in. I think he's fine.
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to rush out and play him lots. I'll play him because I should play him, but I'm not super interested. I'm not blown away with it. It's just fun to get hardened, isn't it? Yay! And that's the thing, is that Hardened makes him good, and that's why he will be good. Is that Hardened is good. And as Carlo says in chat, obviously Hardened is bad when Free Folk have it, according to Mickey. No, Hardened's not bad. It's just that Hardened has a cap in Free Folk. Free Folk don't need Hardened, by the way, though. Yeah, you can't run Hardened and Resilience necessarily. Move Walrus to Walrus units. I guess you could have the Walrus clan chieftain inside. You could run Eldon, I guess, in Free Folk. And you run Thens with a 4+ save, 6+ morale, with Battle Endurance on them, which you play early. Then you have Harmer's Bannerman in the unit, and then you regroup and reform the Great Walrus into the Thens or a Walrus Clan Chieftain, which puts them on Iron Resolve as well. So there'd be a 4+, 4 morale, -1 wound. Hardened go down fighting, resilience, hold the line, taunt. Who gives a shit about taunt? And they're a walrus unit. Sorry, a frozen shore unit. That might be good. Yeah, no, that might be.
You're playing a mini game inside the game.
Oh yeah, 100%. Who cares about the main game? I just want to. That is actually, now you think about it, that is literally build your own stag knights. Because they're an 8-point unit as well at that point. An 8-point unit. Even 9 points technically. In terms of value, in terms of the list building. So, but yeah, no, that obviously is good. That is good. That is value. Yeah, I think Harden's good. I mean, Harden's still good. And yeah, it's just he's not Mance. That's the problem. He's not Mance.
Yeah.
So.
But he's Mance right now.
No. Mance is obviously the best. There are commanders I do think that have a lot of play inside Free Folk outside of Mance, but he's just not Mance. And I don't think he adds any survivability that Mance doesn't add. So.
I think that's a problem for Free Folk, because if you wanna play Folk, you know that the best commander is always Mance.
Yes.
Else it's less good.
Yep. We'll see. I do want to play. I will say this though, and you'll hate me for saying this. I really want to play Battle Endurance on a chariot, and then ram a chariot into somebody, and like round 6, and be like, so that's Sundering Vicious Crit Blow on 6 dice, and 3 auto hits or something like that, and just watch as somebody cries.
Yeah. But
yeah.
Still, again, it sounds like a mini game in a game.
Oh, it is. It's a mini game inside. This is the thing with Free Folk. You've got to play the mini games with all these stupid combos you can do. Not because they're actually good. The combos aren't that good most of the time. But if they are good, oh my god, it's so worth it. Anyway, that is it. Can you believe it? We've done 2 hours and 7 minutes. We've had Carlo absolutely lose his rag with the internet and leave for us forever. We've had Carlo also decide that Hardened is still good, and Hardened is still good. Hardened is the best. It's been a wild ride, Danny. Is there anything from those 3 boxes, well 4 boxes technically with the Castux, that you saw that you thought was good? Or like stand out to you?
Yeah, for sure, the 2 Lannisters new commanders, they think they're pretty good, especially not Kevin, the other one.
Adam.
And I like the bear, the boar, because I like the idea of having kind of a circus. I like it, and I like the design for Kevin and for Qyburn. I don't know if they are that strong, maybe not. I like Lyanna for the Stark. I like her. She's good. I really hate Robb, and I mean he's probably one of my favorite characters in the book, also in the show. But I really hate it. I think it's useless.
Yeah, no, I
Everything else was okay. I think it's okay.
Yeah, I have to say the Robb one. I'll say it again. Like I read it and thought that's not good, and then I turned it over and was like, and it's 5 points and can't be taken in an Eddard list. Like that's just shit. That's just terrible.
I think the worst thing that is not even a commander. You cannot have him as a commander. As we said, he's the king of the north, but he's not a commander, which upsets me really.
Yeah. I've just had a nice little message there from Weasel, who says Charles saying he thinks the walrus actually has legs. Well, he does have legs. We've seen the model. That's a joke. And I do think he has legs, and that's because he's got Hardened. I mean, it's as simple as that. Anything that has Hardened is probably worth looking at as a potential, like, good thing.
The one is not probably Belwas.
Yes. Well, you know what? Belwas attachment isn't complete and utter trash like the commander attachment. It's
he doesn't have hardened. It's just the commander that has hardened.
Yeah, that's what I meant. The commander version of Belwas isn't trash, right? It's just that
the only piece of the game with hardened that you don't want to take.
Yeah, because you look at his commander cards and go, "What the fuck are these? These are trash." I think he's the only person, and I do mean this. Like, I know there was debates whether Targ Dario is better than like neutral Dario in Targs, and that was discussion. But I think I do think that Belwas is the only Targaryen commander that you take and actively make the Targaryen deck worse. And I don't even think the Targ deck is that good to start with. It's okay.
I think it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay, but it's not good. So, I've actually had a question come through straight away from Mikkel, who says, JahSper, what do you think about TTS? And is it something that you would play if you got the opportunity?
Short answer, no.
Go on, why is that?
Not because I don't want to play with everybody else. I really love to play with everybody in the game. Mm-hmm. But I really don't like TTS. I also talked with, I don't know the real name, but with Winter is Coming.
Tom. Yeah, Tom.
He asked me to play in a TTS tournament because they wanted to try out the new update, and they didn't have anybody playing with Targaryen. And I said, I am really honored to be invited to this tournament, but I don't like to play TTS. I never have, and I watched a few games, but I really don't like it. I mean, I have been playing games, not war games like this one, but just board games since I was 8 or 7, when my parents and the presidente from our group, they opened a club. Mm-hmm. And I was 8 years old. So I started playing when I was 8. And I love being with people and playing some games. And I love having new friends and meeting new people. And that's basically it. And if I play online, I don't have the same feeling. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's, I don't know, right now I'm top 1 in Asovia stats, but I'm not sure I'm the best player in the world. Probably I'm not. Mm-hmm. I don't think I am. But I really enjoy the game, and I enjoy to meet people and play the games, and I really don't care at the end if I win or if I lose. The important thing for me is to meet people and to have a connection with people. And mm-hmm. I don't get this feeling with TTS.
And you know what? That's completely fine.
I understand people playing with TTS. I have nothing against it, really. Mm-hmm. I don't like it. I really don't like it.
Yeah. No, yeah. I do. I think personally, from my perspective, I've talked about it before. I do think TTS is quite useful, and it serves a purpose. But I can understand the point you make there, and I do agree that not everyone necessarily enjoys it, and there's nothing wrong with not enjoying it. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. And as William says in chat, he completely agrees. Nothing is better than being in person, and I would agree. TTS is never going to be a replacement for playing like personal games. In-person games, it's just what you can do when you can't travel. For me, anyway.
I see a question. What was the first game you remember playing at 7, 8 years old?
Yes, go on.
You know, I can show you the logo of our club, which is this one. And
is that the House of Books?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it comes from HeroQuest.
Yeah, it's the HeroQuest.
Or from HeroQuest. So my favorite game used to be HeroQuest when I was 7 years old, and we played it a lot, really a lot.
I have to admit, we must be similar, because I played exactly the same thing when I was. We actually have back at my dad's house. I've got the original HeroQuest box, but he's got 2 copies of them, and then he bought an advanced HeroQuest as well for all the extra miniatures. So yeah, I mean, what a fantastic game to start out as. Have you played the remastered version they've just brought out recently?
No, I haven't.
You should. I mean, it's the same game. It's the same game. They've just updated the models. But yeah, no, it's certainly brought back memories. Yeah, fantastic. Love it.
Somewhere I have a picture with Presidente, and I was 7 or 8 years old with long hair, long blonde hair. And we were playing HeroQuest, and I was really a kid, like 7 or 8 years old.
That's great. I love it. I love finding out how people start playing. It's always different, and it's always fun when you had the when people have like similar ways of starting, and like different games they played. But yeah.
We also played Battle Masters.
Oh god, Battle Masters.
Remember the one?
That's the one. All I remember is that the one where you get the it's two armies. You've got like an Empire / Bretonnian army with an ogre versus orcs and goblins or something, was it? Or no, the cannon versus the ogre. Is that right?
The cannon versus the ogre. Yes.
Yeah. And the Imperial army and the orcs and goblins and like other things.
Yes, and Beastman and Chaos Warrior and
yeah.
I think that can be evil.
Yeah, no. So interesting fact, I've actually got that upstairs. I absolutely love it when I was a kid. But yeah, no, that was one of the first games I remember. I was at a show. Must have been just after we moved up north. So I was been about 9 years old, I think. And my dad took me to a wargaming show in Stockton nearby. And you know, I was kind of like I was into games and stuff by this point already, but it was on show there, and some guy had put it on as like a participation game. And I went along, and I must have played Battle Masters like 3 or 4 times that day against different people. And I'd go along and be like, oh, no one's playing. I'll see if anyone wants to play. I absolutely loved it, and I actually, again, I've got 2 copies. I've got one here, and I've got one at my dad's as well. Absolutely love that game. But that was again one of childhood favourites. Oh, what a legend, Danny! All the classics coming out.
All the classics.
Yeah, it had the big giant mat. It had the big mat terror that you had to like roll out. Yeah, cool. Anyway, that was it. I think it came with a little tower, didn't it? That was it.
The tower and yeah. The trays, the green trays, and when you have the miniatures and
the flags in the corner.
The flags in the corner, yes.
Yeah. Anyway, we're just chatting bollocks now. So, I've just selected the 2 most recent tournaments you've won, which was obviously the second House of Orcs event that happened. This was last month, start of this month. Sorry, it feels like last month. Jesus. This was the 12-player one.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
I mean, do you want to just tell me about the House of Orcs group yourself? Obviously, we'll talk through the tournaments and things that you guys run. But just tell me about the group. You mentioned it kind of starting up a while ago now, but go on.
Yeah. The name of the club is, in Italian, it's La Tana degli Orchi, which means the lair of the orcs.
Okay.
And our club, we opened the club, actually, my parents and Presidente, they opened the club in 1994.
Oh, wow. Brilliant.
And basically that's it. We have this club since 28 years now, for 28 years. And we play there every Monday and Thursday. We have a big group for Italian standards, because, you know, in Italy it's not like some other northern European countries. We play a little bit less because people like to go out and enjoy the sun, and during summer nobody plays. So
fair enough.
But we have a pretty group now. We are 16 people playing, and we try to organize normally maybe, let's say, 1 tournament every 6 or 7 weeks, just by ourselves, and maybe some player nearby, because we are our club is in Viterbo, which is 1 hour away from Rome. So maybe sometimes somebody from Rome will come and join us.
Yeah,
that's basically it.
No, it's cool. I have to say I've been to Italy before. I didn't get the opportunity to go to Rome, so I do want to go to Rome at some point. But now I can go to Rome and then just detour a little bit and be like, oh no, I've ended up in this different Italian place. I better go check out if there's any stores nearby or any clubs nearby, and just happen to walk in one day.
Why not?
Yeah, no.
Always welcome to come.
Yeah, honestly, I'd love to go. I love Italy as a country. I think it's fantastic. Yeah, no, that's That's just from an outsider's perspective of like holiday making, right? And it's not the hot weather. Actually, it's nothing to do with hot weather. I just went to some like random Italian villages and things like this and thought it was awesome. Yeah. Cool. Christian says not all Italians like the sun. I'm guessing that's someone you know.
Yeah, I don't see the comment, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll come up.
Yeah, Christian is one from my club.
Yeah.
Very good player from our club.
Okay, so that's the club. That's your history. Now you got into the game semi by accident, right?
Yeah. I've told this story to many people already, and
Go on.
It was a couple of years ago, and we were having a small tournament, like 7 people, I guess, in our club, and they were 7, maybe 9, or 7 or 9, I don't remember exactly. And they told me, "Do you want to play? Because we are an odd number, and we don't want to do the buy." And I never played the game. I just read the rules and say, "Okay, let's play. I don't care. I can play whatever game you want me to play." And so Presidente asked me to play, and I couldn't say no. I said, "Yeah, of course." And he said me, "Okay, which faction do you want to play?" And I said, "Which faction can I play?" And the possibility were neutrals or Targaryens. So pretty easy to choose because neutrals are not a faction.
Correct answer. Well done.
So I chose Targaryen, and I just had the starting set. Mm-hmm. And I played the tournament, and I got second. So I say, "Wow, I'm pretty good at this game, and let's start." And the very next day, Presidente just knocked me at my door and say, "Okay, this is the gift for you," and he actually gave me the starter box.
Oh wow, fantastic!
So I had to start.
Yeah. Oh no, that's great. And someone said earlier, or you saying earlier that someone challenged you to never cut your beard. Is this right? Is this the story as a Dothraki?
Yeah. You know, Tauro last time he said, "Okay," because I wanted to cut my beard. I say, "No, don't do it. Just cut your beard when you lose a tournament, like the Dothraki style." So I don't have hair, but I have beard. So I say, "Just grow your beard, and when you lose your next tournament, you cut it." Like, okay, maybe I can go with that. So I will play. We will have a tournament in our club this Sunday. So I will probably play with neutrals, so I can cut my beard.
Well, it serves you right for not playing a faction. So yeah, no, it's fantastic. I love it. Yeah, fantastic. Obviously, you have won a lot of events, as we kind of just alluding to in Spain. I was going to say in Italy. But then you went over to Spain and played against the Spanish players over there in El Rey and in El Norte. What did you think? How was it in Santander? Tell us all about it, basically.
The tournament was amazing. It was. I'm not. I mean, I've been playing since I was 8 years old, as I said, but I haven't played a lot of tournaments, and the Santander one was the biggest one I've played.
Oh wow!
And it was amazing. For the reason that I said before, I love playing with new people, and I love meeting new friends and having fun with them. Now I frequently chat with Victor, the organizer of the event, which is an amazing person, a really nice guy, and the event was amazing. Everybody was really, really happy with it, and everybody was really comfortable, like no problems at all, and a very, very nice event, and I loved being there. All the Spanish guy that I've met at the table, and even during the event. So yeah, I had the possibility to talk a lot with Mark. Mark Bell, I think it's the nickname. A fantastic guy. He played the first match with First Lady, which is the wife of Presidente. She always comes with us the tournament. Nice. And he was a very nice player. I actually watched the game because mine ended in half an hour, so I could watch the game. And he's a fantastic guy. But really, all the people there in Spain were amazing. Also the French guys, the 3 French guys. We had a video at the end of the tournament. It was experience, and I believe that the LGT in September, October will be even bigger and even better because the more the merrier.
Yeah, that is the plan. I'm really looking forward to the LGT. I enjoyed last year. I look forward to last year's one. And then I forget about it. I really do forget about this year's one so much. I don't necessarily think too much about it during the day. But then someone mentions it or someone says, "Oh, what about that thing?" And I think about it. I'm like, mate, there's going to be over 100 Zong players in a room together. Like, I don't even care how well I do in the event. It's just going to be awesome going around and being in a room with 100 other players playing the game that we like. And some of these people I've never met physically. You know, certainly the having the internationals come over. We've got some returning internationals, I hope, with the likes of Vlad and people like that coming back, which is fantastic. You know, Bloodraven. You know, people like that who I really want. I enjoy the company of. They're great guys. And then there's also people like yourself and the, you know, Mikel and the Spaniards, some more French people. We've got some more Polish, I believe. Hopefully some of the Germans. And it's like, wow, that's great. And this year we've also got the hopefully the guys in the Netherlands coming over, right?
Yeah.
And all of those people who are all brilliant people in their own right, being together in a room playing the game and celebrating what this is about, and also having fun and getting to know each other and having some beers and what have you. You know, I can't complain. That who cares about playing the game at that point? Do you know what I mean? Like the game is there to be played and it's fun and it's enjoyable, but really, actually, it's just being in the company of others, like you were saying before.
Yeah. I agree with you. I agree with you on everything because I really don't care if I'm doing good or bad at the tournament. I really want to meet people and play the game with different people, and that's it. That's the biggest thing of the hobby for me.
Yeah.
Why I don't play on TTS.
Yeah, which goes back to the original question. Absolutely fantastic. So yeah, the event there. I wanted to just briefly talk about you. Obviously playing a lot of Targaryens, and specifically, you're one of the few people that runs fairly consistently Drogo in what I would call a fairly traditional 3 NCU 4 combat list that Drogo runs with. Doesn't push the bat out to that 5 activation most of the time, but it's the Queen of Marine. You mix it up there with the Queen of Marine list. A lot of people don't play this style of Queen of Marine list. I don't know if you wanted to tell us a bit about it, what your thought process is, how you think it plays out. Give us some tips on how to beat you. Sorry, did I say that?
But I normally, when I think about a list, I tend not to think about one single list. I tend to think about the two lists I want to play together, like
Yes.
one in the opposition of the other.
Yeah.
And I like Drogo, of course, and that's normally my main list. I like playing Drogo, sorry. And I normally try to pair it with something like more infantries. Drogo is basically I like to play him full cavalry or almost full cavalry. And so the second list was just okay, let's try Queen of Marine. I wasn't sure about it. I really wasn't sure, but I had to try, and I also had to think about what could I bring to Santander and what not. So I had to put like the flayed man in both lists so I can save some space, which is pretty important when you travel.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah.
And so in Italy, people think that Drogo is overpowered because I play him.
Yeah, classic. So, yeah.
Everybody, not everybody, but there are some people thinking that Drogo is the strongest commander in Italy.
Yeah.
And that's basically because I play him, and they think, okay, you can't do anything versus Drogo. And when I see other people playing him and I see that they don't do that well, okay, maybe you can win against him, right? Mm-hmm. Not that strong. I don't think he's OP. I don't. And I also think Targaryen are now. I mean, in the previous update, they were pretty strong. Now they are okay.
It's actually interesting you say that. I do think Targaryens have strengths, and stuff like the Drogo lists weren't really affected by the changes too much. They're really here nor there. So the same Drogo lists still work, right? But actually, the big thing that I think affects a lot of Targs is the loss of Mother of Dragons, because let's face it, she's god awful now. It's left a lot of Targaryen players looking for a second list, I think, and a lot of them are trying these infantry heavy lists where they're going quite a lot of pikemen, or trying the unsullied unsullied officers in units of things like the swords and stuff. They're mixing things up with that second list a little bit, and I haven't seen anyone else come up with a list pairing that they're happy with, where it's something like, there's the Drogo list and here's another list. Except yourself, really. You're the only one who's had this kind of list pairing. And it seems to be, it's almost the changes, as you say, haven't really affected this list pairing outside of, the Tycho change has had to unfortunately lose your point in the Drogo list. But yeah.
I didn't used to play this kind of list before.
Yeah.
And update, I didn't play the 8 points cavalry and Jorah. It was a little bit different. I used to play 2 6 points, like 1 outrider and 1 screamer unit.
Yes. Yeah.
Now I don't know. I'm not sold on screamers. I mean, before they didn't change, right? They didn't change at all. But before, they were the only light cavalry at 6 points.
Yeah.
That was their strength, I think. Now you have horses, you have outriders. I mean, the Stark outriders. You have the Ranger Trackers. You have many 6-point cavalry. So I think the screamers, just by comparison, they got worse.
Yeah, like the relativeness. Yeah, I can see that. Interesting. Yeah, no, interesting.
Everybody else, I'm also not sold on these 2 lists. Like, I mean, it can be changed, and I'm not 100% sure they are the best pairing possible with Targaryens, because we're saying without I almost never played Mother of Dragons. I don't like the play style of Mother of Dragons, so even when it was the 1.6 version, I never played it. I never played her in 1.6, and I played her in 1.7 or 2021 just in one tournament. Because I wanted to try it. I wanted to try her. I played.
That's fair.
After winning one tournament with 1 dragon, the second tournament with 0 dragons, I say, okay, now I earned the possibility to play 3 dragons. So nobody will say, yeah, come on, you only win with dragons, because I tried with 1, 0, and then 3.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I didn't like. I don't like the play style of Mother of Dragons, and I would be curious to see how the Targaryens will be without her. Like, we will see that now, because we don't have her anymore, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's very interesting.
In 1.6, at the end of 1.6, I believe that Targaryens were the number 1 or number 2 with the Stark wolves, or
yeah, the Stark wolf spam at the end of 1.6 was the standout. Free Folk had insignificant spam, which was another separate, completely independent issue that neither of them had good solutions for, but the Stark beat the Free Folk in that matchup the majority of the time, or more often than not. And Targaryens had absolutely jack shit and Mother of Dragons. And Mother of Dragons was really good.
Yeah, it was too good.
Yeah. And that was it. No, like, people would go to events and they would take 12 infantry models in a tray and 3 dragons and, like, solo draw and some NCUs, and that would be both of their lists. And it was like,
easy, pretty easy when you travel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it fits in a small bag about this big. Yeah, no, that was 1.6, and that was sad times. But that was also during the height of COVID, so no one travelled, so who cared?
Yeah. Never played her. Never played in 1.6. Maybe one match. Maybe one.
Yeah.
But I'm not even sure.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's cool. And it's interesting to see you run the Queen of Marine. I do think a lot of people struggle with her. You know, we only have to go on a quick look at the power rankings here to see that Queen of Marine isn't doing well. She's now, well, fair enough. She's now on the second spot in the old rankings there. And she did well for a period, but she's made a nice slow recovery up to decent win rate. But again, play rate's not particularly high. Yeah, she's only had 160 games over the last kind of 2 years, a year and a half, even because it was reset last year, wasn't it? So yeah, no, it's definitely interesting. I do think Queen of Marine perhaps. I know a lot of people out there are umming and ahhing about these infantry lists or infantry style lists. So I think there's a lot to learn from looking at the lists that you run, because they're clearly good, as well as you being good, of course. You know.
Yeah, but
As Christian said in chat, which you missed there, it's not Drogo that's OP. It's you that are OP.
Yeah. Thank
Nerf
you,
JahSper. Nerf JahSper. Cool. So.
I also say should screamers be 5 points?
Yes.
I agree with Christian that a 5-point cavalry would be wrong. Regardless, I agree with Christian. Christian is very good with rules and very good with balancing. But maybe I think that we're thinking that we don't have enough attachments, right? And we don't have enough 2 points attachment. I think that maybe we should see what's the name of the ability for the mercenary, for the Stormcrow mercenary. For the adaptive, something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe we could see adaptive on some cavalry. So you still have to pay 6 points for cavalries, but maybe you can get something else, something more at 6 points, and you can see something different.
Yeah.
So
that's not terrible actually. That's as long as he's not neutral. Please don't make a neutral character.
Why not?
No, I don't know. I just don't like adaptive on neutral stuff because I feel like it opens up a bloody can of worms. See Rickon in Stormcrow Mercenaries, old 1.6. All right, cool. So overall thoughts on the game as it stands. People will say now that the game is relatively balanced from where it stands right now. Night's Watch again have been on a bit of an upsurge. Free Folk specifically though are a bit on downsurge recently. And everything else is fairly stable. Starks have been not making the rise that people thought they would initially. They're still recovering a lot. And Baratheons are now actually a good faction. They're positive and have been positive now consistently for a while. Where do you think the game lies? What's your opinion on the game at the moment and how the game plays and your personal kind of like things you like, things you maybe don't like, that kind of stuff?
I think now it's for sure it's more balanced than before.
Yeah.
Like this update was good. Maybe faction are still having some problems, like Lannister for sure. They got pretty bad. All in all, I think that all the factions, all the real factions, so we not consider neutrals. They are all of them are playable right now. We still are not in the point that everything is fully balanced, and I don't think we will ever be there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that now it's a pretty good time to play the game. Of course, Nightwatch are still maybe a little bit stronger than everything else, even though they nerfed Mortal, but strong.
Mm-hmm.
But all in all, it's much more balanced than before.
Yeah.
Right now we have Targaryens at 13 and Baratheon at 12, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're coming for you. I actually got posted this meme, which must have been from a moment where they were briefly ahead. So let's just open this up so people can see this nicely there. Look at that. That was a nice little meme I got sent to me. Baratheons are slowly working their way up the pile. They did overtake Targaryens briefly.
Yeah.
They're coming.
Yeah, they are. I think they are.
Mm-hmm. Which is good. That's good to see.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. I would have hoped that Nightwatch maybe they got a little bit less strong. Let's say it this way.
Mhm.
Playing with Night's Watch sometimes it's saying boring, but it's frustrating. Cannot get the best out of your game. I don't know.
Mhm.
I play a lot against Nightwatch because Power from a club that he only plays Nightwatch, so we very often play together. And sometimes it's not that fun to play against Nightwatch because you feel like you have much possibility against them.
Yeah, that's fair.
You normally have to think placed just to play against them, I think.
I mean, I would argue personally as well. I think similar kind of problem that free folk have as well. I think that the free folk you end up thinking about other things that aren't the game because they've got so many little things about. Specifically, Mance builds have just got these little things about them that just make them a bit miserable to play against sometimes. I think. So yeah. Cool, fantastic. Now I don't know if you're aware, but I'm gonna just quickly run through some of the other stuff that were run over the weekend. Were you aware of the big French event that ran over the weekend? The big team event from France?
Yeah. I've seen something, but I didn't follow the event.
Yeah, that's fine.
To be honest.
They had a 38-player event in France. It was a team event where loads of games were played. Absolutely tons of games you expect. It is a team event, so 5 rounds. So teammates pairing up with each other. And JahSper, the guy I was literally talking about last week, won the event. So there is that. And he won it with Baratheons, and he won it with 6 activation Baratheons. So really pushing the boat out there. And he did run both lists as a mixture of times. So if anyone is interested, there's those available for people to go and have a little look at. It wasn't the only event that ran. We also had War of the Westerlands, which was won by none other than Sir Jacob of Glace with his Mance Weeper pairing. I don't think he ran the Weeper once. I think he just ran Mance every game. Yep. And he came first with Free Folk, but actually Baratheons taking up 2nd, 3rd, and 4th spot in that event, with Targaryens also in a 3-1 bracket. So a lot of Baratheons doing very well. So again, check that out if you want to. Ross, the Targaryen player, runs a lot of Drogo, and he now runs the Unsullied Officer Stormcrow Mercs, but he runs the Jorah with the veterans and stuff like that. Bit different list to yours, I think. So yeah. Corentin, it says it should actually be 15, 20, 142 on his secondary points. They got reported wrong. I'm sorry, JahSper. I'm very sorry. I will say this though. On that note, JahSper did send me a nice little message, which I was going to share with people. Most of the French TOs have started using have decided they're going to use, or hopefully will use, stats for future tournaments. So for more visibility of French tournaments, I think a lot of them are going to move over. And hopefully that's just because they enjoyed it a lot more. Now the French scene do use a lot of T3, and it has been hard getting the French scene to use the stat site as much as other kind of like areas like Italy and things like that, and Spain. But it really sounds like the French are starting to pick it up and run with it a lot more, which is fantastic. We'd love to see them integrated on there, and again, the community's brought together. More games, more play. I'd love to go to the Master of Westeros event in France, for example, when that next runs, which I'm really looking forward to. Hopefully, as another event that's massive. That one was like 100 players last time, so I hope to make it across for that. Okay, the other thing that we got to mention it. Adepticon ran over the weekend. It was a 16-player event, and it was won by Brett with his Night's Watch. The guy who didn't come second, but the guy who was on the top table with him in the last round was a neutral player running a 6-1 combat unit versus 1 NCU list. Yeah, I mean, he's obviously a very good player. Mark Rupp has won Adepticon before. He's obviously a very good player in that region. running neutrals and doing very well with it, especially on a 6-1 split. I was going to talk about the 1NCU. Now, I'm no expert. I don't have the data right in front of me, so bear that one in mind on this one. 1NCU, not particularly popular, not a popular way to go. But it did consider, and I don't love your ideas on this, Danny. Got a 1NCU list in the modern set of rules, and it allows you to take 6 combat units. And you're playing against lists that are 2 NCUs. Typically like a 5-2, or maybe even a 4-2 split. Do you think that this 6-1 split, by not having that NCU and just being willing to take the hit for another activation on the board, is actually worth it over the 2 NCU lists that we're seeing? What do you reckon?
Yeah, I always play with 3 NCUs.
Yeah.
So
same.
that's my
yeah.
the standard. I always play with 3 NCUs, and I really have difficulties to play with 2.
Yeah.
So I think playing with 1 is pretty hard.
Yeah.
And if the meta will shift on the 2 NCU list, maybe having 1 can be okay. You can have points for 5 points on the tactic board, and then you have 35, 36 points on the field. It's a lot. You can have some very good units, and even in Santander, the French guy playing with Stark played with 6 activation lists. 4-2, I guess. I think, yeah, it's 4-2. And he got second, undefeated. So I used to think that 5-3 units plus 3 NCUs was the way to go. Now maybe not so. Maybe the game is shifting because units don't die that easily. So maybe even 6 activation, 7 activation, they do work. And having 1 NCU, if you play against 3, can be hard. But if you play against 2, people are winning games, so there must be a reason.
Yeah. Now, it's one of those things. Obviously, sometimes certain lists, certain builds, and things like this will prevail. And like, I don't have the data on hand right away, but it is something that obviously over large sets of data, you might find that 3 beats out 2 and 2 beats out 1, and 1's just the worst, right? But that doesn't mean it's like just categorically the worst in all situations. There'll be situations in which it shines, and in that 2-list pairing that you talked about so much earlier, Danny, about like maybe there's space for that in the second list, and that's kind of the point, right? Those low activation lists as a different look. We see here that the list that Philip run, Titus Polo, he ran the Brynden all cavalry list, something we actually talked about briefly earlier, as a different look. And yeah, I can see why that might be winning games. You know what? It makes sense. Yeah. And he ran it all at 3 and 4 out of 3 of the 4 rounds as well, which is interesting. I will say this though, JahSper. Right? You went to this event in Santander. You didn't get the opportunity to play the only other undefeated player there. Would you have taken the opportunity if it was presented to you? Do you want to play a final? Would you have gone yes, 100%?
Yeah, sure. I also said it to Philip, and he's probably coming to the Italian national, so maybe we will play together in Italy.
Ah, that's brilliant. I love that. It's one of those things you always like, certainly if it's international and not being able to have that decider and being like, okay, which one of us is the best then? and having that matchup. No, I look forward to that. If that matchup does happen, I really hope we get a lovely report from it or something, because I will look forward to it. Yeah. Was there anything else you wanted to run through today?
I just wanted to talk briefly about the Italian nationals.
Yes,
that will
of course,
during the weekend.
Yes, I forgot that was announced now. Right, yes. When is it?
And,
there it is.
It's gonna be on May the 21st.
Yeah, fantastic. Cool. Look at that lovely piece of...
prepared everything during the weekend, and when I say we, I mean I. I prepared the graphics and everything on the website, and we launched the tournament at, I don't remember, it was maybe 6 p.m. and by 1 hour we had 13 players that got the pre-enrollment.
Oh wow!
It's amazing. And after less than 1 hour, from Spain contacted me and said, "Okay, we already bought the flight. We are coming. 3 people. We are coming from Spain."
Wow!
Which is amazing. And I also see that Mikael previously said that if Spanish can raid the Italian national, and the answer is yes, of course. I would be happy to welcome you in Italy. We're playing in Modena, which is in the north of Italy, and we are playing into an exhibition show, which is the biggest exhibition show about tabletop games in Italy.
Oh wow, that's fantastic.
It's actually also in the support of Simon. Mm-hmm. It's officially the Italian nationals, and I hope it will be a great event. And we already have 3 players from Spain and 1 from France, and I would love to see somebody else from abroad, like from the rest of Europe, like other people from Spain or maybe from UK, maybe, or Germany. I think
I will.
Very, very nice.
Yeah. Oh, it's making me want to look. I'm nearly on the edge. Yeah, no.
You know, Mickey, there's always we talk with Carlo, and there's always a spot for the invitational. So
well,
reason to come.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yes, there is an invitational for the London GT, for the invitational event happening there, up for grabs for the winner. Yeah. No, I mean I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing it happen. I think it's going to be amazing, and I didn't realize when you just said there happening at the Play Festival in Modena, is huge. Obviously, that's a lot of exposure for the game in terms of in front of people who are there for the show and things like watching the game. And and I really do wish you all the best of luck, Danny, running a 32-player event for that, because I think that if it goes well and it works well and you get the publicity and everything like this, I think you're going to draw people into the game, which is exactly why we want to appear at these big shows, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what we did also last year. Last year we had the first nationals in Modena Play as well.
Yeah.
It was pretty small because we were, I don't remember, 13, 14 people, not many people playing, but COVID was still in Italy at the time.
Yeah.
Now it's much better, the situation, and many people just passed by, and on the tournament was on Saturday, and we had some demo plays on Sundays. Many people passed by and started to know the game, and then we started to make it bigger, like having tournaments and talking with people, chatting online on Facebook and on WhatsApp. We have an Italian chat, and we talk a lot about the game every single day. And people
fantastic.
just fight each other all the time and saying that what is OP and what is broken, and everybody else.
I'm glad it happens elsewhere as well.
Yeah.
No, that's fantastic. Yeah. It's really good. Obviously, one of the things that myself and Carlo really enjoy doing is looking at what happens around the world. Carlo built the site. He put a lot of work into doing this, and really hoping that a lot of things kind of would come up and people would use it. And I've enjoyed chatting with people from all over the world, be it Spain, Italy, like yourself, French, German, Polish, you name it. Like talking to them about their experiences with the game and seeing these communities, which if it wasn't for pre-COVID and things like that, I didn't know anyone else played the game, so it's fantastic to actually interact with the communities there and find out, like you're saying there, about these events that run and that you see the benefit of, which is lovely. I absolutely love it when you talk about that. So yeah, it's really nice to hear that it's going well. Yeah, just makes me happy. Don't know what else to say about it, really.
And me too. And as I said, I like playing with new people. So the more the merrier, really, because if I have to play always with my teammates, and we play basically every week. We play once or twice a week. And that's fine. I love to play with them, of course. But meeting new people, having big tournaments, it's a thing you can do in this game. For me, my idea. And winning or losing is not important. And I can say that just by being number one now and having won a lot of tournaments. But it's not important for me, really. The most important thing is to meet people and enjoy their company and share our ideas about this hobby.
Well, that's great. That is great. I will say that I really hope you hit the 32 player limit. Yeah, I noticed last year you've obviously mentioned about it being like 13 players and smaller event and things like that. I am really looking forward to hit that 32 player limit. If we can, and yes, COVID no longer a thing. That's obviously a big thing. But if you can say, look, here's an event that ran last year, late on into the year, this, that, and the other was still in place. This dirty, bad, and we ran the same kind of event like about 8-9 months later, and we got like over double the player numbers, mate, 100%. That would make your event bigger than what we're seeing at Adepticon this weekend, which is massive as well. No, I really hope this goes really well. And you've got 2 months, right? Give or take?
2 months. 2 months from now, yeah.
Is everything ready for it? Have you got everything sorted yet?
Yeah, everything is sorted out. We just need to fix some details about prizes and something about with the show, with the Modena Play stuff. That's basically everything is sorted out. Just very small details, and already we already put, because I'm not gonna be the TO of the tournament, because I intended to be. At first, I wanted to be just the TO and be the referee of the tournament, but many people ask me, no, come on, I want to play with you. If you make the TO, I cannot come to the tournament and not playing and not have the possibility to play with you. So Presidente will be the TO this time. And not yesterday, on Saturday we put everything back together on the webpage, so you can also find the basic information there. And I hope by the end of this week we'll put details on it, so even all the rules for the tournaments and everything. That basically is the official rules, of course, but you will also see everything else, every details.
Cool. Is there a website that people should go to for that? Is it just on the Modena Play website, or is it on your own?
No, it's gonna be on our website, basically.
Cool. On the House of Orcs, yeah?
Yes, indeed.
Fantastic. Feel free to drop a link over to me when you can for that. And,
yes. I didn't put it now because I still don't have the file completed, but I will complete it by the end of this week, and I will put that online.
Yeah, fab. And we'll obviously share it around people as well, so people can see where it's going, and hopefully get some more international people going across.
Yeah, I hope so.
So yeah, well, Danny, I will quickly run through the other tournaments coming up, of which, of course, as is always the case, my job of the week. So we have got a TTS Cup happening this weekend on the Saturday in Leipzig, in Deutschland. That might be online. Other people might be able to get involved. That might be the one-day thing where they're playing lots of games in a day. We have an event happening in Santander on the same day. So that's another 16-player event there in Santander, Spain. We've got an event happening in Poland. Where would we be without a Polish event in Podvale? Probably butchered that. I do apologise. Reclaw. We've got another event on Saturday, another smaller Polish event. This is in Pruskow. I've probably butchered that one. We've got the Clash of Members, kind of like event that happens every month down in Chelmsford, in just Essex, UK. We've got the House of Orcs Volume 3 happening this Sunday, Danny.
Yep.
And you're going to win it, right?
I don't know. I want to cut my beard, so.
You want to cut your beard? All right, so run neutrals. Yeah, that makes sense. Cool. No, that's fantastic. I really hope I'll obviously follow along online and see how it goes. See how it all goes up. And that is it for this week. Believe it or not, relatively light week. And I say a light week, and that's what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 events, and it's a light week. Wow. That shows you how many events we've got going on every week. So yes, that is everything we've got running. Danny, thank you very much for being here with us today. Okay, Carlo's problems. Carlo's problem with the internet meant he couldn't be here for the whole time, sure, but we haven't really lost anything. Not anything that anyone misses anyway, right?
I'm sorry not having a possibility to chat with Carl, but maybe we will do that another time.
Hey, you know, he's always online. I'm sure if you drop him a message to have a chat, I'm sure he'll have opportunity to be there.
Yeah.
As always, Danny, thank you very much. I really hope your events run really well. And any last words, say them now before I say goodbye to everybody.
I hope to meet you all soon in Italy or in the Nationals, or in France for the Nationals there, or London GT. I will be there. So
fab. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. Just over the 3-hour mark. So huge thanks to all the people there. We nearly hit 70 viewers again this week. So people clearly enjoy listening to us somewhat rant on about random stuff. And thanks again to Danny for turning up and sharing his view of Santander, House of Orcs, telling us all about that. So huge thanks to him. And of course, thanks to you guys for watching. And we will see you next week. Same time at the new weird time thing. See you later, guys.
Bye.
Ready, aim, release! Anyone see my mammoth?